Welcome to another exciting edition of the Beatcast. What is the Beatcast, you ask? Well, that's a good question. It's a sample challenge. Every episode, a whole bunch of producers from literally all over the world take a sample chosen at random by a member of the community, make a beat out of it using any equipment they want, and then at the end of that, they submit it to our website, thebeatcast.com, throw it on their IG, we all discuss it, talk about it as a community. We jump onto this live session here and hang out, sometimes vibe, just listen to music, and then occasionally we listen to featured guests and have little interviews and whatnot and kind of discuss some music. As always, we're brought to you by Mixwell Worldwide. Mixwell Worldwide is a turntable and lifestyle brand going back since like the 90s, man. As you can see, you got some of the legends here. So use code BEATCAST25 at mixwellworldwide.com and you can get 25% off any of your purchases. As always, somebody in the chat, just by the nature of being here, hanging out and chatting, is going to win a care package from Mixwell. So stay active, hang out, and you may be that one who wins that. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get together here with the Beatcast. And those that are with me now, we got Rick Shotgun.
Yo, so chat saying they can't hear us.
Yeah.
Really?
But that was very nice intro.
That was a good intro, too.
Great intro.
And
You did so well. You did so
Watch,
well.
it's like one guy with his phone all the way turned off.
No, there was a few of them.
So I'm seeing volume.
Oh, okay, Danny says she can hear us. Zilla says just very low. Alan is low.
Can you hear me now?
Yo, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Check.
Hello,
check.
hello.
1 2 1 2.
Boom. What?
Yeah.
Mic check. You probably really. I don't know.
There we
You
go.
should hear us. Yeah.
1 2 1 2.
It's some
with
sort
the
of karma because last time you were like so loud and we were
That was
all
too
low.
loud.
Yeah,
Now I overcompensated it.
getting
It's
it
quiet.
back.
Just
Well, hopefully
scream in
you
the
guys-
mic.
I'll fix it in the post. I turned it up just now. How you guys doing? You guys good? Everything going good?
Good, man. Other than this time change, you know, that's that day that
Yeah.
screws everyone up.
Yeah. Today's the day. If you guys don't know, in Arizona, that
We don't do
Mountain
anything.
Standard Time (MST). Yeah, nothing happens. But for some reason, our we don't switch. Everyone else switches, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so we jump it back and forth between Pacific time and Mountain time.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, normally we would be starting the Beatcast at 7:00 our time. We started it at 6-ish. You know. Something like that. I don't understand how time works. It's a social construct.
I know
We
that
just
it
come
bumped-
on whenever the hell we want.
Yeah,
That's what it's-
like for me, it bumped me up an hour, so now y'all are 2 hours behind.
Jesus Christ. Time is ridiculous. Where
Yeah.
the hell is
It's
Michael J.
8.
Fox?
Doc Brown. Where's Doc Brown?
Doc Brown. Hope everybody in the chat is doing well. There's Kinko's in the chat, Danny Apples, Beat Smith Mador, Tigri, Princess Hyena is in the. This is a new first-time chatter. Princess
Hyena.
Hyena?
I know.
Hey, I did the same shit. Hey, I was the same shit.
You know why I say Hyena though? Because like in Arizona, you got a
Yeah.
chance like something like me.
Hey, I was walking through Michael's the other day singing that shit.
Yeah.
I was like,
Female Hyena?
Yo, I ain't heard Fiona Hyena. I was like, man, I heard this shit in a long ass time.
Man,
She
what's-
will never join us again.
yeah, we're sorry.
You know what's
Or
funny
maybe.
though? Speaking of like the kid, was that Kid Frost? Is that who that was?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But so I got a sneak peek of the sample pull that John's doing, Tape is doing, and it reminded me of like some straight up like lowrider, you know, like laid back lowrider stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna do some Kid Frost type shit.
Oh, okay.
Got to.
So you can go MC Magic with it as well. Shout out to MC Magic.
MC Magic, Nasty Boy
Hey,
Clip.
yeah, Nasty Boy Click. Damn, that's a deep cut for Arizona. So how's everybody doing? You guys good? Any updated news? Anything exciting that we should cover before we begin?
Nah, man.
Hell yeah.
I bought a desk. I went thrifting today and I bought a desk.
Nice.
Like, you know, I like to thrift.
You do.
That is like actually the one thing that therapeutically,
yeah.
you really want to see me happy, we'll go to a flea market or some shit. Like they have a really huge one in California. Oh man. Just,
That's
That's
when
just-
you're at home.
I mean,
Do you find, is there any vinyl out there like at the thrift stores and stuff like? Do you ever come across anything? No.
I've come across a few things. It's funny because like when you go to certain areas, like when I go in the Northwest area, it's like it's more like you get like classical, and, but it'll be like classical like in Italian, you know, or it'll be like in Polish, something like that. So it'll be like specific to like the community and stuff when you going to those places, because you know you get somebody's collection, it's gonna be reflective of the person.
Yeah.
So you know, but yeah, I find some like a lot of random ethnic stuff like with the communities. That's what I've been finding. So I got all those Indian records, and I got those the classical Polish stuff. That shit's dope.
Because I never find it, like going to Goodwills back in the day. That was, you go to Goodwill, Savers, and all that. You'd find everything. Now it's like I stopped going to thrift shops just because there's nothing there, or if they do got something, it's like some Lawrence Welk shit for like $10.
Barbara Streisand records, and
Yeah,
just random classical shit. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's nothing out there, so I just stopped with the thrift shops for digging.
It's such a catch-22 because I mean, and then on top of that, like they're trash quality, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like
all moldy and shit.
Yeah, not even worth like trying to clean up and take to the house.
Yeah.
Like a car
coffee
ran
stains
over
on
it.
top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like a car fucking ran over it.
Well, before we go any further, then, if we're all, because we don't have a whole lot of time, we do want to get to our special guest, and we want to get into the beats. We have a lot of submissions this week. I do want to give a quick shout out to our patrons for our Patreon: Beatsmith Medor, Messy Goods, Tigri, Disgraceland, RC Peters, Prot, Pablo Station, Mark Chai, Little Treasures, Filth Spectre, Ant Architecture, Ali, Zilla Beats, Press Rewind, Who Is This, Q No Rap Name, Jalinga, Equality 725. Is that One Bar Llama? I think that's how you say that. And Squeak Boogie. Squeak Boogie's
Nice.
a legend
Squeak.
out here in AZ as
Oh,
well.
shit.
Man.
Yeah.
Shout out to y'all. Man, appreciate you guys, because you guys are really making this thing happen. Covering some of the housekeeping stuff, we have a playlist that you can get on if you've participated in a past episode of the Beatcast. Just go to our Discord. You can get all these links at thebeatcast.com. Go to our Discord, and you'll see the Spotify link section. Drop your Spotify link in there. We have this sample pack, 1 a.m., the Beatcast sample pack volume 1, and 2 a.m., our volume 2 sample pack, which now we're starting to see those kind of trickle into the community where people have been using these packs and posting them. You get these on our Patreon at the $5 level. The battle is coming up later this month. There's 8 cats ready to go to duke it out. It's called the Friendly Fade series. It's judged by Major Vibes, Tatsumaki, Telly McLean, and you can win cash prizes, a deal with us to get a cassette release, some merch from Mixwell, as well as the Beatcast. And Elena threw in she's like, hey, I'll jump on with these cats and give them a quick audit on their social media and kind of get you guys up to standard with what you're doing. Because without reach, it is the nature of the beast nowadays. The social media is our new radio almost. It's like independent radio, really. So that's really awesome for you to do that. And our critical listening series with Sam Drumlow is moved because of the beat battle, but we'll let you know when that date's coming. The last one went really well. The second one that we did, that was really tight, RTC, and you ran that one. It was good.
Yeah. I felt like I leveled up my skills as far as running the behind the scenes stuff here.
Lots of buttons.
Yeah.
And then finally, in excellent news, our next release of the compilation, our second volume 2 release of the Beatcast cassette tape, is now accepting pre-orders at thebeatcast.com. The good news is that it's up. The bad news is there's basically only half left. So somewhere around 25, 28 copies are left. So if you want those, make sure you grab those before they're gone. We may try to repress them, but if not, that's it. They're gone.
And remember, all you I reach out to, we got till March 31st to get those in.
Yeah, so make sure you get those going. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guest of the evening. This cat really needs no introduction. It's funny, as soon as we talked about that, I think Elena, you reached out and talked to him, and it set that up to have him on, and the community was just like, holy shit, I got tons of messages, but like, dude, you're telling me that this cat's gonna hear my beat tonight? You know what I mean? Like, we'll be able to chat with him a bit. So it's pretty cool, man. I love the excitement, and we love the opportunity to chat with him. Put your hands together for Elaquent. How you doing, man?
Yeah.
Good, man. Good. Happy to be here. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Just realizing that the Beatcast is going Hollywood, but
It was bound to happen.
You see, you just keep trying and you keep working, and one day you'll get there. All right, guys, it's been great. Have a good night. We shut the
Grand opening, grand closing.
So that's all he's given us.
yeah, man. So, I guess in the interest of time, we can kind of get right down to it. One of the things, like, diving into your history, and I love the fact that as a seasoned Cool Edit Pro user, I welcome you, sir, to the Beatcast with open arms. So this is something that I use to record everything, and it was crazy for me to find out as I dug into your process. Are you still using Cool Edit Pro?
Not as much as I did a few years back.
Yeah.
I mean, found some other like cool plugins and things to sort of accomplish the same thing, but
Yeah.
like I'll never own a laptop that doesn't have have it installed.
So you were using it more than just editing samples. You were actually crafting beats out of it.
Well, no, I mean I've always been using FL Studio with Cool Edit because I didn't really like the ways that you could chop samples, at least in some of the earlier versions of Fruity Loops. So I used to dump all my samples into Cool Edit Pro. Shout out to Peter Quisgard, for listening to this. That's
the crack version too.
That's the god, Peter Quisgard, dog. And
who is that guy? Do you know who he is?
Nobody knows, but he's a legend. He's a legend, bro. If they ever make a Beatmaker Hall of Fame, I mean, he's a first ballot inductee. But I dump samples into Cool Edit, and I would just chop them like manually, and then basically save them in a folder in FL. And like I did that for a good 15 years at least, and and I'd show people my process, and they'd be so confused, like, dude, why don't you just use the FL slicer? Why don't you just use X, Y, and Z? And it's like, well, that's a very good question, but I gotta put on for the homie Peter, So
keep the spirit alive.
But beyond that, when I'd be trying to piece together a full song, I would do it in Cool Edit. So like I'd dump the vocals and I'd dump the beat, and that's how I'd sort of structure and edit it. So like I said, I don't use it as much anymore since I started using like Serato Sample, and but it's still there, and I still like whenever I gotta edit like larger files, that's still the go-to.
Yeah. I always dug there. Like I used to use it just for the dynamic compression, like to record, rappers' vocals and stuff over beats, especially when I was traveling. It was such a cool program, man, and so many people got so much mileage out of it.
Oh, I got a ton of mileage out of it.
Yeah.
And like when I got my most recent computer, and I figured, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to retire Cool Edit.
Yeah.
And I went and I found Adobe Audition, which is literally the exact same program.
Thing, yeah.
Although I frankly I don't really like it as much as the old Cool Edits. They changed and they modified a few things, but like I'm very much a creature of habit. So.
Yeah. So you don't keep an old like PC with XP on it just for Cool Edit Pro?
Hey, on my external drive, like I've got I got a copy of FL Studio. I've got all these plugins. I do have Cool Edit saved there just in case. Just in case my computer explodes, and if I got to go back and recreate like my whole DOS setup, I can get it back. Because when I tried putting Cool Edit on this one, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really play nice with Windows 10. Or 11 is what we're on. It didn't really play nice with it, so I'm like, all right, let me just try this this Audition shit. But I don't know, but just looking through my files and just knowing that I've got access to it anytime, it's it makes me smile,
Yeah.
Gives you comfort.
It does, for real.
Isn't that weird how producers, like, change is inevitable. And I know a lot of producers are this way. It's like once you kind of have something that works, there's almost like a level of superstition around changing the formula that's gotten you to so many successes as far as creating something that sonically resonated.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
no, it took me a long time to to switch from MK2 to MK3. Like just because it, being
Like,
attached.
it's so much. Yeah, there's so many. You get to that point where you're like, cool, I can finish on this thing. I can finish a track here.
Bro, they're on they're on FL Studio 21,
Yeah.
which really is like 15 or 16. But I mean, I just upgraded to 10.
Yeah.
And I was after
Yeah.
using 8 for like 6 years.
Yeah.
So like I'm very, very change adverse. Like I'm a very strong believer in, if it didn't break, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And when I found out that some of the newer versions of Fruity Loops like took away one or two features that I really liked, I was like, no, fuck it, I don't care, I ain't doing it.
Yep.
And now I know eventually, one day I'm gonna succumb to it. Like I have the 21 install file like on my desktop. That's one day I'll fuck around and I'll install. But
Yeah.
I don't want to do it until like I feel like I've hit a ceiling, and it's like every time I open up Fruity Loops, it's like I'm learning new things about it that I didn't know, and I've been using some iteration of it for literally 20 years.
Yeah.
This dude just said every single thing that happens to me with it. So I definitely agree. And 8 is my favorite version of FL. I still have it installed. So I have 20, but I always start out with 8, and then if I need to do something, I'll put the 8 file into 20 because it can go forward, which is dope. So like you can load all of your project files. Any of the older ones, you can load with the newer one. The problem is when you save it, it sticks to the new one, so you can't take it back.
Right.
But yeah, 8 is the shit.
Yeah, I love 8, man. I mean, just some of my favorite, best beats. I cranked out on 8, and it's like, like I'm using 10 now, mostly because I know there's a couple newer plugins and stuff that it has that 8 didn't, but the core, the core application is still the same.
Right.
But it was like after 10 is when like things really, really started to change. So like I've used 20. It's pretty dope. And one day I'll dive more in depth into it, but it's sort of a cross that bridge when I get there sort of scenario.
It's like the interface, like the GUI of it's really nice. It looks good. It's very fluent, but just the speediness of 8 and me being so familiar with it, it's one of those things where like I don't really have to think about it when I do something on it versus when I do something on 20. It's a little bit more of a process just because shit is kind of moved around a little bit. But yeah.
Well, and that's sort of just my philosophy on like just Fruity Loops in general. Like I've got a lot of homies who who are on Ableton, for instance, or a newer version of it. Like Native Instruments was very, very kind, and they actually sent me a copy of Machine Plus, which I've got like in the lab, and I've used it a handful of times, and it's objectively dope. But it's like when I'm trying to make a beat on it, I have to like stop and think about how to do it and how to implement it. And I know that if I just sit down and devote a couple weeks, I mean, I'm sure I can learn it and do some crazy shit. But it's like I'm not patient enough, when I have because you'll come up with an idea for something dope and you want to sort of get to it right then and there. Otherwise, you're liable to forget about it.
Yeah.
That's how it was with me for like Ableton. It was me trying to learn the program versus like me being able to get ideas out. I do have 2 questions for you. Number 1, what version of FL did you start with?
Ooh, boy. Well, the very first one I ever used, I think, was literally a demo version of the OG. So like version 1.
Damn.
Now, mind you, this is just a demo. Like I downloaded it when I was like 12 on like the family computer, just to, that was like my first real taste of beat making, and you couldn't save anything.
Right.
I didn't even know how the song mode worked versus the pattern mode, so I would track out literally just like a single like 5-second loop. That's all I knew how to do. But I guess the first full version I had, it was 2.3.
Damn.
So I mean, I can objectively say certainly at this point, I know FL had that reputation back in the day of kind of just being a toy or kind of just being a joke, and that nobody who was really serious about making beats was using it, and and it was very, very limited. But limitations are sometimes kind of just a challenge.
Then along came Ninth Wonder.
Yep, and Crisis.
Right. Yeah.
But honestly, it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I mean, I was making beats on like version 2 that only myself and my older brother would ever hear, and I was kind of one of those guys who was like, yeah, the shit's kind of a joke. I'm gonna have to get an MPC. I mean, I was almost kind of not really caring about making beats. And then when I read the liner notes on listening, and I found out that Ninth was using it, I think that was sort of all the motivation that I needed. I'm like, oh, okay, you're saying it can be done. All right, I just have to sit down and figure out how.
I think the problem was that they named it Fruity Loops. It's like
100%. And I mean that got. I mean, because I used to hang on like producer forums and so forth, and it was always, and motherfuckers would go in on the name, like, why don't you go back and use your fruity ass programs.
Well, it's just like the gatekeeper shit. You know what I mean? It's just like if you ever went to a studio and you walk in with your MP, you set the MP down, you get the eye rolls like, oh, okay, this is who I'm, a rapper guy, that gatekeeper shit. So, I'm definitely aware of that.
I think there wasn't really an example of it back then, though, because like if I'm not mistaken, Ninth and Crisis were like the two first real dope people that did the shit on like a bigger platform. You know what I mean? Where like even though they were underground, they were respected from even major label artists. You know what I mean? Like there's a picture of Dylan where he's like holding copies of the Little Brother records. So I think that kind of changes the perspective of it, because even if you think about like that whole time period of when the listening came out and all of the shit that happened for Ninth within that small window of time, he worked with Jay-Z. Then after that, Destiny's Child, and then it just kind of went Sean Price, and then it just went on and on and on. I think that those dudes, him and Crisis, kind of changed the landscape of that. They kind of made everybody look at it serious, because I can't think of anybody else before that point where we still talk about them and respect what they did, but on that level, if that makes any sense.
No, there was nobody that was majorly. I mean, like you had computers and you had computer engagement. Like Teddy Riley was, an early adapter to having a whole digital studio. So you had that, but the idea, because you gotta think at that time too, we were still abstracting from the idea of making music without without like
hardware.
Yeah. So it's like first came the box, or the workstation, then it came the groove box or drum machine, and then the software.
Right.
And you still have the whole gatekeeper thing. They're like, oh, that's not, you can't do nothing with that.
Nah, I definitely get that. I mean, and even on a bigger level, you have people like, and I know a lot of people look at him as a joke, but you still gotta respect sort of what he did, like Soulja Boy, fucking B4L and people like that. Dude. Like you could laugh at them and you could talk shit, but they were still using something that was considered a joke on a major level, and they got mad radio play, a lot of attention. Whether you like the music or not, that's not the point. It propelled it to where a lot of other people started using it because
legitimized
of
it.
Thank you, legitimized
it. It changed the barrier of entry, because then it's just like with Koala. It's like now, you got how many kids were sitting at home, and fucking with Cool Edit on their computer. I mean, like any audio program or Microsoft Paint, like any creative program that was on there, how many people like really
I
worked
think
it and freaked it?
I think it's I sort of draw a similar sort of parallel to like Serato, for instance. Um, like when Serato became a thing, and now you could tell DJs, yo, you don't have to carry crates in and out of every one of your gigs. You can kind of
Yeah.
just have a laptop. I mean, I'm old enough to remember kind of the resistance and that shit's corny. You're not paying your dues if you're not carrying crates all day, and
Yeah.
so for the producer of the 90s or the early 2000s who had at that point invested thousands and thousands of dollars into their studio, like their MP and their mixing boards and yada yada yada, and now there's this program that dudes are bootlegging for free, and now it's not a barrier of entry anymore. And I think for a lot of the guys who spent the money, it was, they're sort of predisposed to sort of just call it a joke. Like, I mean, I used to get into. I got into like an argument with like on I think like on MySpace or like on a forum or something with one of Lupe Fiasco's producers at the time. Like that Food and Liquor came out, and kind of his whole thing was, FL, it's a joke. If you don't have the ASR or you don't have the MP, you're not a real producer. And I just remember thinking, like, well, not that I expect to, have the conversation with brother again, but it's like, I'd like to see what your thinking is in 15 years time.
Yeah.
Because it's like now that software is a thing and it's rapidly improving. Like every version of FL was like a pretty sizable jump from the one before it. Not to mention Ableton, not to mention Machine came out of nowhere, and Logic and X, Y, and Z, and lo and behold, it's like it's actually more powerful, and there's more things that they're capable of than the hardware counterparts. But it's fascinating. Everyone. I feel like everyone is at least a little resistant to change. Because when you get comfortable with something, you don't want to feel like you've wasted your time, or that there's something better out there for you.
I definitely I think that like when you buy something, like an MPC or whatever, they do sell like the software upgrades to them. I'm actually looking at getting one, but I know that they have like software upgrades and shit like that. But for the most part, we're talking about like the older ones. You're stuck with whatever the fuck the box does. You know what I'm saying? There's little things here and there that they could change with the software updates, but eventually you're stuck with whatever's there. The advantage of like FL, Machine, whatever, they can update the program and it'll add features in that kind of, like what you were saying, it adds shit and it can make something completely different. Like we've talked about it before. They have that new clips feature that's on the newer versions of Machines. It's been out for like a year or whatever, but it's a newer feature overall. And it kind of changes the way that everything does. Like I know whenever I sequence some shit, I use it now. And I know that there was like resistance against that as well, to what you're talking about. But that is the advantage of, like the software side of things versus the hardware side. The hardware side, you're basically stuck. Software, it can change.
With FL Studio, is it on version 21 yet, or is it just on 20?
21, I'm pretty sure.
They just ran advantage. 21. I want to say like a month or two ago. It's relatively recent.
So that's the other advantage of software, because of the fact that FL Studio is on version 21. When you use it, you can say 21. Can you do something for me?
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
I had to segue. So
just like Drake does too. When you ask that question, you fucking drop it low for everybody.
I can't.
I did have another question for you, man. Do you use like what do you use, just the mouse and keyboard for FL, or do you have hardware that you use for it?
It depends the environment I'm at. Like the first I want to say the first 10 years or whatever of my beat making, like I was confined just to a laptop, like not even an external sound card. So I was just, I forget the mouse. It was just like typing in on my computer keyboard when I'm trying to play notes and so forth. And then, I remember buying when I was in college, like I bought like an M Audio trigger finger. Just the basic drum pad, and I remember just, man, like I felt so hip hop just having that, like, like I could show off to people, like, I'm a real producer, because see, like
Here's this right here.
when I tap this little square, a sound is going to come out, um, and so I got a bunch more equipment and like MIDI keyboards and so forth, but I'm sort of at that point now where, like, I've got an M Audio launch key, and it's small enough that I can take it with me when I travel, and so I've got keys, I've got drum pads, and I've got, most importantly, knobs. So while I can still make beats without it, it just speeds up my workflow so much. So like literally everything else that I've got, be it the 404 or the machine or this, that, and the third, as long as I got my laptop and I've got the launch key, I feel like I can do anything.
Is that the primary thing that you make music on is FL, or do you kind of switch it up depending on what's going on?
So FL, I'd say, I mean, that's, it's been with me for so long, so I can never not have it. But I mean, I've got Serato Studio. Like they were nice enough to show me the ropes on it. That I pull out every so often. I got the aforementioned Machine Plus that I use every once in a while. I do have Koala on my phone that I've kind of just fucked around with briefly, but I guess whenever I'm sort of in the mode of I'm putting an album together or I'm doing some like serious work, I always, for the most part, I sort of come back to what I know best.
Definitely.
Now sometimes, like for instance, on my last album, like I did a few beats on Serato Studio, which which I made the beat for, and I tracked out the stems and then dumped that into FL Studio to sort of sequence it in the way that I wanted to, and I added a few effects and a few things in FL that I couldn't do on the early build of Serato Studio that I was using. So, and that's sort of the beauty with everything is that, while there's a lot of tribalism in the community as far as, man, I use Ableton, fuck FL Studio, or
a lot of clicking up.
A lot of clicking up, So, but the beautiful thing is that you don't have to use one thing or the other. I mean, you can use a combination of them.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you use each thing for whatever step in the process of creation you are
right.
At. Do you think that because when you're saying that you like to throw it back into Fruity Loops, does or FL Studio, whatever y'all call it.
Hey, I still call it Fruity Loops.
Yeah,
I don't give a damn.
I had the very first version of it. It wasn't my thing. Same thing with Reasons. It just wasn't my thing. It was fun for me, but I'm more tactile, so like I had to go back to the MP. But do you think that that's like where you get your sound at? Like that sound that it's not until you put it there, it doesn't have that eloquent touch.
I don't actually agree with that. Like I feel like if I took the time to learn Ableton inside out, or Machine or whatever it is, I feel like I would still be making the same type of beats that I do. I think my loyalty or why I keep going to FL is mostly just because I've been using it for so long and I'm just so comfortable with it. And like I was saying with what I was saying before is that the when I have an idea, I can just do it, and I don't have to sort of waste time thinking about it. But whenever I dabble with a Serato Studio or Koala or whatever, I think that it'll still sound like some Eloquent shit. Like if I gave folks like the Pepsi challenge on guess what I made this beat on, I don't think people would know necessarily. But I mean, I also say this as a guy who's only really made a handful of beats on a handful of other machines, so maybe I guess when I make beats, it's like I have an idea of how I want the drums to come out, and I have an idea of how I want it to bounce, and how it swings, and the way that I play bass, and so forth. I mean, that sort of stuff can be applied, in my opinion, on any on any sort of beat making platform.
It's because it's you. It's not the software. You know what I mean? The software just kind of helps you do it, but you are it. I definitely agree with what you were saying about like not sticking with, or like being comfortable with one thing, but kind of bouncing it back. I think I've told this before. I do the same shit. Whenever I sequence an album, I will make it in Machine, but I will immediately take it to FL, stem it out, add whatever I need to it, and then export it as a whole. So, nah, man, I definitely agree.
I use the homie DiBiase as a good example. And if you're not up on him, I mean, that fool can basically make a beat on an Etch and Sketch if you hear him to.
On anything.
Every time I see him live, he's on something different. It's like, damn.
That dude understands everything.
Yeah, hey, I'm saying
the only other dude like that, excuse me, that I can think of is Bus Crates.
Yeah, that crazy. Dude, yeah,
that
he's
a
trip.
He's a monster.
But it's like like DB will. I mean, he'll send me. He'll just randomly text me like beats or just like videos that he's doing, and it's like one day he's just sending me a Koala clip. Next day he's sending me like shit on the MP, and then it's Machine one day, then it's Reason another,
and then PSP,
the PSP or like a PS2, and now he's kind of like in this mode where I guess he's trying to find like obscure machines that people have kind of just labeled as a joke, and he'll make some fire on it just to prove that he can. And interestingly, FL is like the only thing that he's like never used. So I gotta put him on speed there. But through all of those beats that he makes, I mean, if he didn't tell you how he made them, I mean, you would still know that. Oh yeah, that's that DiBiase sound.
Signature, absolutely.
It's a signature for sure.
Yeah. So obviously you're international, but is there like a beat scene where you're at?
International, it's debatable.
Playing humble.
I'm just trying to be honest. I mean, where I'm at, like the city I grew up in, no, not at all. But it's but I kind of dig it in a roundabout way. Like I guess there's a little bit of a certain romance of being like kind of like the only guy in a small city who does it, right? And so like when I tell people like what I do, and they're kind of just like confused, like, oh, I've never heard of you before, or I didn't even know like beat making communities are a thing.
Then you tell them I'm international. How do you not know?
Well, it's funny because it's like like I'll get a text from one of my buddies like, hey dude, we're all getting together to watch the football game or something on Sunday. Do you want to come through? I'm like, I'm kind of in Austria on tour right now, so I don't know, maybe in a couple weeks. And it's, well, you know, but it's kind of like, oh, that's wild. I had no idea you were gone. I'm like, well, all right.
I'm just curious if you could tell us a little bit about how it all launched for you. You know, like how you started to travel and to be a little bit more, you know, out there.
So for me, it was, you know, I think around 2007, 2008, something like that. You know, when I sort of got hip to the beat scene, and I noticed that, you know, it wasn't everybody, but there's a few folks, you know, guys like Honra and like Flying Lotus
Yeah.
and you know, like a lot of the brain feeder guys. It's like, you know, it's like, oh, cool. They're not just playing in LA or their own city. Like these guys are literally going around the world, and they're not DJing. They're, you know, on the MP or they're on like the 404. And I just thought, you know, I just never thought something like that was possible. Um, so like the first few times that I played outside of Canada and mostly in the States, it's like, you know, I just wanted any opportunity that I could. So, you know, I flew out to LA on my own dime, and I played in some tiny bar that only like 13 people showed up to, and I got paid like $50 at the end of the night. So, you know, I definitely took the financial L, but it wasn't even really about that. It was just more, you know, I just wanted an opportunity to play in front of a crowd, or at least someone who was like familiar with the type of stuff that I was doing, because that wasn't really happening out here. And it just so happened that, you know, I used to kind of just harass people and like, hey, book me, or hey, do you know anyone who wants to book me? Um, you know, I think everyone who gets into music, a lot of people always sort of dream about going on tour, and it's like I didn't know that the type of stuff that I did was even really tour worthy. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the times early on, you know, I was flying myself out, just wherever in the states, and it turned out that somebody, you know, bless his heart, somebody um, I knew in the UK wanted to bring me out for just a single gig, and I just said like, well, you know, like this is a good opportunity. Let me see if I can turn this into a tour. And I'm cold calling, I'm hitting up everybody that I could, just trying to figure out a way to just pick up some extra dates. And, you know, once again, I came back from the 4 or 5 dates that I played, you know, down a few $100s, but you know, it was worth that experience to go out there and play in front of a crowd who, or just be in a place that I'd never been before. Um, so over time, you know, I was fortunate and I came across like some booking agents who would make that a little bit easier, and I did a few bigger tours where I actually got decent money, um and it was really all I ever really wanted. I mean, my goal was always just to play in as many different places as I could. Now I'm at that stage in my life now where I'm not really trying to go and
Yeah.
come back down $2,000 or anything like that. But um, I think for me, it was really validating because, you know, I was doing something that not many people in my position were able to do. Was like not so much just touring, but you know, being able to play in some cool places, doing the very niche thing that we all love, you know. So yeah, because I mean, I got to just play beats and shit
Yeah.
that I liked, you know.
And back then, when you started doing that, there wasn't a precedent for that. It's like, you know, there
There
was
was
no.
only a handful of guys
Yeah.
who did it. I mean, most of the people who were you know, who are touring regularly. I mean, most of them were kind of a little more on the, the electronic or like the
DJ
EDM
side.
or on the DJ side,
Yeah.
and there was very very few people, at least that I knew of, who were, I'm just playing rap beats in front of a crowd, off of my little like 404. There's
Yeah. The LA scene was the like the
that was like the
epitome.
mecca. That
Yeah,
was
the
like the
epitome for any beat, or really the 404, like the rolling. That LA scene, like, loved that thing. But it reminds me, like, back in the day, there was like a 2-year period where they were hosting a lot of here in Chicago, a whole bunch of beat shows, and I got to see like Kenny Keys and Tall Black Guy, and just like all these cats that are like here in the Midwest, and they were like still like kind of like local-ish talent.
Was that through Push Beats?
I think there was one at least one or two events from them.
Right.
But it was like a bunch of. Funny enough, Hennessy even threw one. Like Hennessy had one. They were playing and stuff, and so it was like just random shit like that, where it was just like, but having access and seeing those guys, because it was the beat scene. Nobody had thought about like, oh, I can listen to beats and just chill without lyrics. Because I think the producer scene is, and you can answer this for me. Do you think? Because I think that the producer scene is a lot tighter than the MC scene. Like the it's very producers are quicker to like workshop with each other than MCs would.
In some ways, I would have given you a definitive yes, but apparently producer beef is a thing that I was just made aware of. Really? But in some circles, but I don't think that's an indictment on the producer community or any community for that matter. Just when there's egos in play, and especially when money is involved, like shit can go sideways real quick, and I've seen it happen. But even I guess throughout the producer community, even that sort of fragmented in and of itself. There's folks who kind of just do the beats, just some shit to listen to, like the lo-fi hip hop community. I guess has sort of its own, its own flavors and its own politics, and it's sort of its own community. There's obviously the community of like the guys who are primarily looking for placements. And things like that. We're all interconnected, but folks kind of just move in slightly different ways. So
speaking on like the production aspect of it compared to MCs, like you're a person who's you've released an impressive body of work. It's like I think it's over like 20 albums that you've released in your time, right. Both instrumental records as well as records with MCs as collaborative efforts, but. It's people like Guilty Simpson. You work with Blue, Odyssey. There's a lot of different cats. But like, do you prefer? Is there a preference as far as working with a vocalist as opposed to just setting out to create an instrumental record in that space? Is one you like kind of dig more than the other, or is it a different animal entirely?
Well, doing records, whether it's a collaborative album with a rapper or like the producer album where I got other people coming into the fold. It's a different sort of mentality. If you would have asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have told you, oh yeah, just the instrumental shit for sure. Because part of the reason I got into just doing all of these instrumental albums is, frankly, rappers were pissing me off back in the day. And, when I'm trying to sort of outsource myself, it was always, it always ended up divulging into, hey, yo, Elaquent, I'm a big fan of your sound. Let's work. All right, man, let's do it. But, yo, there's this Neptune's joint that's crazy on TV. You think you can make me something that sounds like that? And and that shit, like I took very, very personally, because it's like I have a lot of pride in what I do, and what I've never, I've never been a type producer, like a Alchemist type beat or a Neptune's type beat, and my whole thing was, like, don't hit me up asking me to make a beat like DJ Premier. Like, you
Go
should hit up
ask him.
you should ask DJ Premier. I mean,
Right.
he's probably going to charge you a lot more than I would, but if you want that sound, you should get it from the source.
It's like, if you want a type beat, then type don't type, go to that person for that type beat. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, and it's like, and it was always, can you, like, yeah, this beat's dope, but I'm looking for something kind of like Ninth Wonder. I'm looking for something that's kind of like Scott Storch. I'm looking for something that sounds like it's on some Dre shit. And, I got annoyed by it, and I'm like, well, fuck it. I mean, I'm seeing all these guys in LA who are making or doing their own albums of just their own beats, and some of them are really successful at it, and some of them are touring the world off of the back of it. It's like, well, it's like, fuck it, and like, I felt just the producer was, it was like very disrespected, in that, like, rappers are always treating us as dime a dozen. So, like fuck it, I'm gonna do my own thing. Now, having done it so much with, like, random collaborations here and there, but having done it for the better part of 15 years, you sort of get into that mode of like, well, what's next, and what's going to be different about the next instrumental record that I do. So I'm trying to sort of fall back from it a little bit, at least for now. And now that I've got at least a little, dare I say, cachet, dare I say, clout, or whatever the word is for it. I dare.
Seniority.
I double dog dare.
Yeah, there you go.
But now that I do have at least a little bit of a name behind me, and now, when I want to do an album where I'm reaching out for features, well, now I don't have to have those conversations about making something that sounds like somebody else. It's like, I'm making my own record that's going to come out on Mellow Music Group, or is going to come out on HerbNet or whatever label, and here's the beat that I want you to rhyme or sing on, and what do you think? And it's a more organic collaboration, and doing the instrumental shit's great, but I feel like there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of, like, collaborations and things like that I've definitely left on the table over the years. And so I'm trying to, I guess I don't want to be known as just an instrumental guy. I mean, I want to be known as someone who can do a fire, who can produce. And I mean, if I get some of my favorite artists on my beats, like, I can do a really good song with Odyssey. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Yeah.
It is interesting how, like, MCs have done this now with producers. Myself, that's what I used to do, like, consistently for many years, was just, as an MC. I did production on the side, but getting out of that, it's just interesting how MCs have mistreated even DJs back in the day, to where you saw a huge explosion in the turntablism movement, where, like, turntablists were, it was like a DJ for an MC became suddenly a turntablist, and they were like, I don't want to deal with no MCs, and they would just go do whole records. I mean, like, D-Styles would do a whole record of just cuts, just with his tables, and you kind of see this movement going on with producers now. Like, beat makers are just like, all right, cool, rapper, go sit down somewhere. I just want to make, like, my own conceptual, record without you asking me for tight beats and this, that, and the other thing. So hopefully, I think these ebbs and flows have to happen within the community for sort of, like, it's almost like a little bit of slap of their hand and be like, when you come back with a better attitude, maybe we can work together. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and folks would hit me up, like, people I'd never heard of before, and they wouldn't even ask to collaborate. You just get that DM of like, yo, let's work, or yo,
I'm King Trey. I'm the next up in my city, son. Yo, I got the fire and shit. Check me out. Let's work. Do this.
Facts,
Gang,
man.
and then
And
the whole bunch of emojis and shit. You like,
Man.
are you
Well,
like
man,
15? Are you 15?
I'm a
And
goddamn nobody. I can't even imagine what this dude goes through. I get that shit, and I'm nobody. Like, I cannot imagine what that man goes through.
well, man,
I gotta
I
do.
be getting some of these collaboration requests, and especially back in the day, it'd be like, yo, hit me up with this beat, and like, I'll make sure that you're famous in my city.
Yeah.
And it's like nigga, you live in a suburb outside of like Orlando or some shit.
Right.
That's where it's popping at. See, now you just downplayed Tuscaloosa. All right, and that's where he was from, and you just fucked it all up. Come on, man.
Nah, my favorite one. This rapper had hit me up like, yo, if you send me this beat, and yeah, I know you're only asking for like $200 for it, but I ain't got it. But if you send me this beat, I'll send you a stack of the mixtape when it comes out, and then when you sell it, you can keep all the money for it.
See, in his mind,
you're hiring
that shit
me.
is okay. That's okay.
Right.
He thought that out, and he probably counseled it with somebody who was like, "Well, look,
You think I should send this?
if they want it, they'll make their money back this way, and then I'll have more sales, and it'll all work for everybody."
The hip hop Ponzi scheme. That's what that was.
And he'll hustle for me.
Bro, I'll never forget, man. I was flying somewhere, and I remember I had a connection through the Atlanta airport, and I don't know if any of y'all have flown through there, but like,
Yeah, I was just there.
But I remember just being there and just walking to my gate, and like, some struggle rapper sort of he like identified me, and he handed me a business card with like his like MySpace and shit on it, which I thought was just wild. But I remember just like sitting down, and I had like 2 hours to kill, like waiting for my flight. So like I'm literally like, I pull out like my laptop, and I got my 404, and I was like mixing something, or maybe I was preparing for whatever show I had later, and like, some dude just sits down beside me, and he's like, yeah, what's that you working on, bro? I'm just working on some music. Like, give me the headphones. Let me hear. And man's like snatched up my headphones, and like, well, all right, let me play some heat. He's like, yeah, man, the shit sounds pretty dope. Yo, man, we should definitely work. Like, man,
Like you were just waiting for him to show up.
I'm saying, man, and
He's your angel. He's your angel.
Yeah, man, bro, like pulled out the business card. Like, yeah, just follow me on Twitter or whatever, and yeah, we'll get it in, man. We finna make a classic. And mind you, this nigga ain't even told me his name at this point. But it was just a very weird interaction, because it's like, this person has no idea who I am, and again, I promise you, I'm not trying to like flex or whatever, but it's just like I don't need you, dog. Like,
Next time, I want him to snap and then just be like, "Hey, man, yo, this the snare, it's at the wrong frequency, my guy." And then he just hands this shit back to you, like, "Hey, you really need to tune the hi hat. This shit sounds wild loud compared to the rest of the track."
I mean, it happens, but it's just, like I promise I wasn't trying to flex, but it's like, the natural instinct of a lot of rappers whenever they come across a producer, if my name isn't on the same sort of hierarchy as Hit Boy or Alchemist, or or some of these guys who are kind of like at the top of the game, they kind of just see producers as, oh, okay, this guy isn't super famous.
You're an accessory.
Yeah, so like, great. So once he hears my raps, I mean, he's going to be falling over himself to try to get on it, and it's just like, well, and when you have that conversation about, oh, okay, well, what's your budget, and then
What's your budget?
niggas, and then folks go ghost.
Oh, poof! Yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
folks,
when you start talking about dollar bills and like how we can make the business of art, yeah, the business of art happen.
the
That's a whole
conversation
different.
switches up real
Do
quick.
you ever get any managers, like any cast that, like, they because I got a dude, he was like, I got these people I want you to work with, I got this and I got that. He's like, just bring the beats over, like we'll just work through it and whatnot, and I have artists I'm gonna have you work with. It sounded really good until I got there, and then when I got there, it was like I felt like an Amway situation, or like one of those like Ponzi scheme sales situations where they get you over to there, and it's like, so have you heard about our Lord and Savior? Some shit like that. So
Yeah.
so I'm sitting there and I'm like, so I got my stuff with me, I got my drum machine. I'm like, am I gonna plug in somewhere and play? Like, what's up? He's like, he wanted to manage me and have me be the one of his in-house producers with like 3 other guys for his roster of artists that didn't know they were coming to be his artists. So he brought everybody together, and we're sitting there.
It was a ruse,
man, and it wasn't. And for me, I was on the train, on the bus, so I got all my shit on the bus. Like, hey, dude, like I just came all the way over here for this, and the other dude was looking at me like, man, I don't want to be here, and it was just real, like, just really, really weird. This girl singing, and like, I'm like, I don't want to do this, man. This is like, I'm trying to like
feel good. Yeah,
yeah, it did not feel good at all, because it was it was really like,
were any of them dope at least?
One of the MCs, he sounded like Redman, and so he was pretty dope, pretty cool. But you can tell he was like a weed head who, like,
Let me tell you guys what you do as an MC, as a former reformed MC. Whenever you get these guys popping into your DM saying, "Hey, can I get a Drake type beat?" Message them back with like, "Yes, only if you can give me Drake type raps," or even someone more obscure. Like I want just some. I want Mike Geronimo type raps over this Drake type beat that I'm going to give you. And if you don't give me that, then it's a no go.
If you can't rap like Royal Flush,
I remember
this is not going to work.
Man, I remember one time, like years back, I think on Twitter or IG or something, and Knowledge had posted a screenshot of someone on SoundCloud or whatever, had hit him up like, "Yo, man, I really like that Wings beat that was on the No Worries album. How much would it cost to lease that?" It's like, yo, you're trying to lease Wings, and my man sent him he just replied with a link to like wingstop.com.
There you go.
Which I
Knowledge is fucking, he be going in on people. I love that dude's stories. He just did one the other day, and they were like, "Why are you so fucking mean to all your fans?" And he was just like, "If you don't get your sensitive ass out of my comments," I love Knowledge's shit. One of my favorite stories ever. That guy just be fucking going in on people.
Hey, let me hit you with a couple of questions from the community, because we gotta keep it.
Yeah,
right.
Let's do the pitch. I was just gonna type that.
Here comes Tigri has a question. He says, "I'd like to hear Elaquent's experience dealing with clearing samples and author copyrights like SOCAN."
Ooh, Lord. So as far as sample clearance, that shit can get pretty messy. Like I haven't been in too many scenarios where I've had to sort of reach out to someone to clear. I mean, that would be something that I'd sort of let the label take care of. Now, I guess there's a little bit of a renaissance right now where like a lot of folks are kind of more reliant on like sample free kits and just sort of doing it themselves, or hell, even TrackLab, I guess, is sort of becoming more of a thing. I can't really get into a ton of detail because shit's pending and there's NDAs signed and so forth, but let's just say that a really cool label reached out to me to do an instrumental project, where I get to sample from from a label sort of library catalog spanning like 50, 60 years that I was really, really amped on. And that shit is in complete limbo, because the thing with clearing a sample is that you have to clear it, clear it with the master owners, but you have to clear it with the publishers too. And depending on what you're trying to clear, sometimes there's multiple publishers, and then you know you run into those situations where sometimes the publishing company wants a shit ton of money. Sometimes they just want, you know, they want all your publishing. Sometimes it's a thing where the original artist just doesn't believe in sampling in hip hop and thinks it's disrespectful or whatever. So they just don't want to do it at all. So, I guess I never really sort of appreciated how much work or how complex it could be, especially if your name isn't Jay-Z or something, in getting them cleared. But if you are trying to get something clear that you're expecting to sell like a lot of records for, that's where you have to sort of have that conversation where it's like, well,
is the juice worth the squeeze?
Right. Yeah. Where you have to assess the cost to, if the cost to clear it doesn't really make sense. Now it's like, well, maybe I should just redo the beat and just do it myself, or so forth. And obviously you sort of run a risk if you just try to just put it out anyways. I mean, I've been fortunate in that I've only got one time on some sample clearance shit, and I was very fortunate that the party in question was pretty cool about it, because I've heard horror stories from some of the homies. So I don't know if that really answers it, but there's a lot to it.
And then we have a few more, but I'll just do one more. This is less of a question, more of a comment, but he snuck in a question mark at the end. So it's from Ali Wan Kenobi, and he says, "Let me hear a DiBiase Elaquent collab real quick." So it's more of a request.
Hasn't it happened?
I mean, there's been a couple. So I did there's a joint on my album Celebrate Life, called something classic. Funny enough, with DiBiase on the drums for, and on his last Bonus Levels album, I had actually remixed one of his old Metroid joints on there. Now I've been sort of campaigning for me and him to just do a combo EP or album, which I feel like one day we'll do, but stars got to align, but one day we'll make it happen.
And the best thing you can always do when you want your favorite artist to do stuff is just keep reaching out to them. Like post in the comments, but like, "I'd love to see this." Just be active in there, and then.
Or we could just keep telling Elaquent to do shit for us.
Right. Yeah.
Like since we got him on here, we could just request Bonus Levels Part 2. I would really, since he's right here.
Can you do like a Neptune type beat?
You and DiBiase doing it together.
He could be Chad. You could be.
The funny thing about that is that I feel like virtually all producers when you're first starting out are basically just doing type beats. Sure. When you're learning how to do the craft. So yes, I mean, if you ever heard my early 2003 beats, it was a bad impression of like old RZA and DJ Premier and Alchemist joints. But
whatever's your favorite at that time, that's what you like gravitate towards.
That's the phase I'm in right now. It's like accidental type beats. I'm still trying to find my shit.
Yeah, boy. Also too, like the scene is like reflective of like what's happening, and like because for a minute it was a lot of like everybody wanted to just chase down as many old James Brown-esque soul samples that you can have. And then, there was an electro situation where everybody wanted to have some like Stereolab type, Portishead-ish type stuff, so it's like, it just goes with what the scene is and stuff. And then some people just stick out.
And honestly, early on in my career, I mean, a lot of people used to give me shit for for making like imitation Dilla shit anyway. So I guess you can say I was doing some type, I guess some Dilla type beats. So yeah,
Did you
go
ever
figure.
do any? Did you ever do any of the beat remaking shit? Like, have you ever remade something that somebody else made?
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
actually one of my favorite things to do. Like
The holy grail chops, like doing the chop for running or the chop for.
Well, I mean,
the world is
sometimes
that type of shit?
sometimes you kind of just I mean you just do it for fun, especially if I'm looking for samples and like I hear something and then I realize, oh shit, that came from like, oh, so this is what so and so sampled from whatever song. And then
Right.
I also like to do and even on some of my past albums, like I'll take like my favorite Pete Rock joint from Pete's Instrumentals, or one of my favorite ones was that I did this remake of Bonita Applebum, where it's like like I heard the sample and I just listened to it on loop, and then I just tried to replay it on the keys, and then I tried to sort of jazz it out. So it's like, when you listen to it, you know where it came from, but technically I didn't
It
just,
ain't the same.
it ain't the sample, and, sort of taking some of your favorite songs and making them your own. Like we did the comfort food record where we're just remaking, some of our favorite Dilla joints, or taking elements from our favorite Dilla joints and then just reflipping it in a unique way. So yeah, that shit's fun to do if you can sort of make it your own.
Well, Elaquent, it's been absolutely phenomenal talking to you, man. You've been awesome just to chat with, and we'll talk a little bit more in the back half of this as well as about your newest release and where people can get that. But before we get into all that,
the Beatcast is brought to you in part by Mixwell Worldwide, the turntable and lifestyle brand going strong since 1997. Patreon. Our patrons directly support the Beatcast. Choose a tier that works best for you and receive items like merch, exclusive sample packs, as well as a direct shout out in our live shows. Patreon.com/The Beatcast. Picking up some new equipment. A portion of anything you purchase through our Zounds affiliate link, located on our website at thebeatcast.com, will directly go to support the Beatcast project. 1 a.m. The Beatcast Sample Pack Volume 1 is available now on our Patreon.
yeah, man. And there was one beat that we missed last week, and I hope I selected the right one that we missed because I wanted to play it.
Just grabbing random shit again.
Yeah. So we're a garbage truck on fire, as we always say, but we're rolling. So this is Zilla's beat from last week, real quick. So this isn't from this week's sample. So and I hope I'm playing the right one, Zilla. If I fucking grabbed the wrong one, I'm sorry.
That shit is dope. That shit is real dope.
God damn.
Dope. But I will say I was watching the chat for Zilla to say, that ain't it.
Yeah, luckily it was. It was it.
Birth.
Nah, that shit was super layered. That was real dope. But I think he's exonerated because that's from last week, but just letting everybody else know from here on, for all the ones that for tonight, Elaquent about to roast the shit out of any of y'all or any of the ones that he don't like. He hasn't said anything yet, but he's just grilling people from the rest of this time forward. Just has to see, he doing a Birdman hand rub, so y'all better get ready.
We finna have a barbecue.
Doing a hand.
Wait, but for what it's worth, I did dig that last one. Wait, so like, did he submit that video to go with it too, or do you guys just kind of piece
so
that?
You'll notice everybody does that. Pair it with the video to varying degrees, and they submit that along with it. Yeah.
Some people with more movement.
Video. Yeah. That's a very interesting video to go with that. Beat.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird shit that you're going to see in the next hour.
No, man, I like weird shit, man. I mean, ultimately, as a beat maker, as an artist, like I feel you kind of have to have a little weirdo in you, you know. So I'm with that.
I think Prot submitted somebody shooting up in their last video. So
yep.
Wait till we get to Soft Cannibals video.
Right. Yeah. So these beats, I believe, are from 226. They were posted then. I could be wrong. I'm really good at being wrong. And then the sample of that are coming up for this one is from, it was that Teddy Lasry record, Nebular, off of E=MC². And I was going to send you this track before Elaquent, and then we realized that we don't know how time works, and I didn't have time to send it to you. I lost an hour. So, it's this weird experimental, like it's from the 70s, like synth type of record, but just it's like it sounds like it was when they first discovered, holy shit, synthesizers are cool, so they were just trying shit, you know.
I know.
Did you get mine?
I know he knows the record.
I did.
Okay. It's the same one from it's the same one that Dilla sampled from The Shining. It's the E=MC². The shit with Common on it.
Oh yeah.
It's that. Yeah.
Is it that though? Because like there was a debate with Tate on our thing. Someone brought that up, but he was saying it's not that record. Watch,
it's not.
Yeah, I don't think it's that record. I think it's a different record.
It's not that record.
Isn't it the same artist though? Am I tripping?
Teddy Lasry, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's the same artist.
Maybe it's the same album, different track or something. I don't know. I definitely don't know, but Tape knows. He's in the chat. He'll tell us aggressively.
Yeah, scream at me and let me know that I'm wrong, please. Yeah. I really want to know, but I'm pretty sure it's the same artist.
What did you guys think of the sample this week?
I struggled, man. Like it was like a layup though, because there was a lot to pull from, and it was really easy to sample. But I struggled with this one, man. I had to do something completely different outside of what I usually do to make it work.
Yeah, it was very polarizing from everything that I saw. Everybody's response was either this shit was really dope, or it was I fucking hated this. I couldn't make anything from it. There was no in between. Like,
you know what it is? Sometimes when some things are like just they're good listens, it's harder to like to jump into it as a to chop it up.
Right.
Whereas like when you hear something that's like, oh, that's a dope loop, or that's this part. Some shit you hear like because it was so electronic and so like new wave-ish. Is it? Maybe.
Yeah, it could have been for the time.
I don't know what. Yeah,
on the way to it, the early new.
Because I'm thinking of Trans. Who did Trans Euro Express?
Kraftwerk.
That's the vibe I was getting from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. But I don't know. I set the bar for the worst sample pull ever with that Stevie Wonder one. So
people are still mad at you about that. People are still upset about that shit.
Hey, but the shit that came out of that was definitely dope.
Yeah, there was some great ones out of that.
It's part of the challenge. It's like not a record that most people would have used, and that's part of it. You got to like do it. Just a quick piece of it. Normally, just so you know, here we'll just play a random selection of the beats because we get so many, we can't really play them all. Unless we reach our sub goal, then it's like, fuck it, we'll go long, we'll play them all, which we have done. You'll see down at the bottom of the screen that orange bar on Twitch. You guys went above and beyond. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. I saw people gifting subscriptions. Bits were coming in. Thank you to everybody who did that. That's major.
Appreciate y'all.
Directly supports. That's awesome. And so, yeah, we'll go long, we'll play them all, and let's get right into it. This is Jet.
was an awesome video.
Yeah, that still had more movement than
Lots more movement.
Delvon's videos from the past.
Now, I think that might have been Jantler's first submission to the Beatcast. So
I think so. I
Yeah.
don't recognize the name.
Welcome to the Beatcast.
Welcome
that
to
was
the
interesting.
Beatcast, the
Did you
community.
get to know more about like how you're creating that? Like, what did you use? It sounded like it might have been a koala thing, possibly.
Oh,
Maybe took the file, laid it out, and then let it play. But yeah, man, I see where you're going. Hell yeah,
That
keep
was
it
dope.
going. Next up is Jeltz. Now, Jeltz has an album coming out. Jeltz has been with us since the very beginning, the first season, a couple years, 3 years ago now. And he has a record coming out 4/7. So hit him up on his Instagram for his album for more information about that. Here goes Jeltz.
Hey, and jokes, I'm digging the theme this season. I'm digging the theme.
Jelt's always coming with it.
that shit was dope.
Yeah, that shit was dope. That shit was hard as fuck.
And that was all the same sample, eh?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was a weird record.
Two completely different beats. Yeah, I'm a sucker for like Fender Rhodes shit. So you know, like I'm always about my chill shit. So he immediately won me over with that. But yeah, I liked it.
Oh yeah, nice one, Jeltz. Good shit. This is One Bar Llama, one of our patrons. I like where this drum progression right here is going. If you had more of a low end to it and you carried it out, I would dig that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounded like some 404 shit or some koala shit.
Yeah, it's very abstract.
Right.
But definitely that low end is cool. If there was more of like a thump to it, and it just kind of drug that out a bit, that would have been cool.
I feel like on a, you know, like in a venue or somewhere where there's like big monitors. I mean, I think that shit would be crazy.
Yeah. Shout out One Bar Llama.
No! Don't eat that! I saw it moving in the refrigerator.
Take some.
There is something alive.
They're good for us, Jason. Must be a side effect of eating too much dessert.
It's gonna kill you! It's gonna kill you all!
We are not alone. Tonight, America is in great danger.
So are you prepared to set out the air that you've actually seen this devoured with all this stuff?
Oh, hell yes. And what's worse, I've seen what's left of them when stuff is through and comes back.
That was cool.
That was fresh. What what movie were those clips from?
The Stuff. It's old 80s like cheese B movie, horror movie.
Scared the shit out of me as a kid, dude.
Did you? It's
Yeah.
absolutely terrible movie, but I'll watch the hell out of it. It's such a fun movie.
Bro,
I wanna see
B movies are the move, yo.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something so fun about them.
Yeah, and I absolutely hate my beat, so I'm like, I'm just gonna put the audio over this shit.
Yeah, that.
Beat was cool. Beat was good.
My favorite line is the "Don't eat that." That's what I
saw.
tell Bree all the time.
You posted about. That was actually the first time I'd ever used an 808 for a bass line, though. So it made me do something a little different, something new.
Would you just do like the loop point with it, or did you just put it in like keyboard mode?
Just put it in keyboard mode.
Right.
Rhyming on the beat.
Oh, this shit is dope.
Nice.
Nice. I love how you use the total micro chops on those samples there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope. That was
Yeah,
dope.
those drums went pretty crazy. I fuck with that.
Yeah. A lot of times rhyming on the beat too, he'll do like freestyles or something like that over it while he's walking around with the whole thing, and he's got the mic and like that crazy 360 cam and shit. It's awesome. He does some
Yeah, that's cool.
super inventive guy. Press rewind. Nice.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
That was
Press
cool.
Rewind. He's going to be in the battle as well coming up. I think it's March 19th. It's the first round of that battle. He's one of the cats that's going to be in that. He makes some hard hitting beats, man.
Yeah, dude, shit is dope.
Yeah, I liked it. I think that I felt like a couple elements of the beat were maybe clipping a touch. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's some easy shit to sort of adjust in post. But yeah, I did it.
Yeah. Where do you come down as far as like that, as far as a mixing choice when people they deliberately set it into the hot? Like, do you feel like that's kind of like a disservice to the mix sometimes of the beat, or do you think they should pull it back? Or do you think?
I mean, I guess it all depends on the sound, because I mean, I guess there's certain styles and certain sounds that, or I guess it's a little more beneficial to be more sloppy or a little more loose with the mix.
Yeah.
And then some things I think would be accentuated with more restraint. So there's no right answer, and obviously he ain't got to change shit. That was just kind of the first thing that sort of came to my mind.
One of the spaces that I've heard that done the best was that beat that XXX Tentacion had, that "Look at Me." You guys remember that beat?
I remember that one.
It was so far into like it was peaking, but it wasn't. Like if you played it, you could turn it all the way up, and it wouldn't. It sounded like it was peaking. It had so much distortion on the kick, but it sounded good the way he that. I don't know if he made that beat or who made that beat. But that shit was tight.
Yeah, man. I think
I can't remember.
I think like some of my favorite like Lil B songs are like mixed to all hell.
Yeah.
And even when you're listening to it like quiet as hell, I mean you can still hear that bitch clipping like a motherfucker. But it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't mind it at all. So
Yeah.
you know, it all depends on the joint.
Yeah.
Well, none of us are going to question the bass god. I can tell you that right now. So.
Lil B unfollowed me on Twitter, and I'm like heartbroken about it. Man,
What did you do?
I don't know, man. I gotta like send the nigga some like edible arrangements to make up for it. I don't know what happens.
Just send a cake like with him on it with prayer hands. Just do that.
Send him some Little B type beats.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like I want zero smoke with Bass God. You know, like Task Force will come for my ass. I don't want smoke, dog.
Facts. Oh yeah. Let's see. This is Grain's music.
That's an interesting twist.
Yeah.
Almost on the polar opposite. That one could come up a little bit, you know?
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Who was that?
I agree.
That was Grain's music.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That shit was dope. The guitar that came in, I like that.
That kind of reminded me of Climax from Slum Village, like the part in the middle when the chorus kicks in.
Nah.
I don't give a fuck. That's what I'm saying. I don't care. That's what that reminded me of. The way that it started to elevate.
Got him.
My bad. It ain't around the corner. So,
You know, I'm just, I'm not sensitive about nothing at all.
it's all good.
Oh shit. Yeah, and if you guys can put your name in your beat, like real or in your video, real big, so we, just saying. It's just
Do geography too. That way we can all we could have Bree figure that out for us.
figure out where you're at. Yeah. 88 sampler. Shout out to 88.
He's in Spain, right?
Oh, sounds like some forward shit.
See, this sample made some people do some different stuff because that sounds different than what I feel like 88 sampling has ever done.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's dope. I mean, everyone we've heard so far has had a uniquely different sort of approach to the sample, and that's dope, man. Because like I've been on these sort of things before, where you listen to like 30 beats and like 22 of them kind of basically sound like the
fucking
same beat. Right. It's facts though.
I do have a question about that. Is this the best version
That's always
of the
been
30 that you've heard?
What's that?
Right.
Like, is this the best version of that concept that you've heard? You said that you've been on something like this before. Where you've heard like 30 different beats or whatever. Is this like the best version of that you've heard before?
Yeah, I mean, I just never want to.
We got it. There it is. Too late.
And there's our Instagram clip.
There you go.
Eloquent said this is the best one out of anyone.
You know what? You know what y'all should do now? You know how they have that AI shit where they make like Joe Biden argue with Donald Trump and shit? I fucking love those videos. Do that, but do a deep fake of Elaquent talking and just being like, yeah, dude, this is the best shit I've ever heard in my whole life. And there you go. You just say it that way.
I'll just say the shit, man. You ain't got to hire no AI.
There you go. Hey, man, there you go.
You gotta hit that squeeze.
Hey, but that's been our like hallmark is that like we get so many we get so many cats that like they just have different sounds. I mean, it's hip hop based, if you will, but it's like the shit will go into like some different corners, you know, and it'll be like the most hip hop dudes sometimes. But
we got that Eloquent cosign.
Beatcast, motherfucker. Yeah.
There you go. Well, y'all got the new tag right there.
Good job, Delvon. Good question. I like those kind of questions. Let's keep it running. Oh, it's good.
Nice.
That was hard.
Cool.
That was hard.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Whoever Shorty was in the video, yo.
I wonder if you can make some cabbage rolls out of those cabbage there.
Yeah, she's whipping up a crazy salad as we speak, yo. I'm with the vision.
You know what I figured out about the sample? It seemed to bring out the synthetic drums out of everyone. That's what I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Because like when I first started working with the sample, I was trying to go more boom bap, more dirty drums, and I was like, it just didn't work with what was going on.
Now you got to use like the more electronic, rounded out drums.
Yeah, I just went with whatever the sample. That's what it pulled out of me. But now you see why I see. That's why I use the owls gals, as they always call it, because it's a visual platform that we're posting it on. So you're trying to make it. Dudes are dumb, dude. You want to put girls are cool.
Put a dude in the cabbage field. It would look just as good.
Just a buff, oiled down dude in a cabbage field.
No, I'm gonna find a cabbage field and go run around and have someone videotape me. That'll be my next video.
And the funny shit is like that's not hard in Chandler. It's not
funny.
hard.
Just run up to some random bros and be like, "Hey, dude, you ready to? We need some help. Can you film something for us?" I found this. Fuck are you,
man? I found this crazy farm. Yeah, hear me out, bro.
Dude's gonna think Jeffrey Dahmer's approaching him and shit. He thinks he's about to die.
Like what?
Hey, got some beers in a van. Can you come meet me over at this cabbage field?
Get the van. I'll drive you. It's right there. Yeah.
Shit.
Come hang out.
Just be the cameraman.
Yeah. This shit is dope. We'll fight.
Nice.
That was hard.
Nice.
That was hard. I like those drums a lot.
Yeah, the drums
Yeah,
are
that
so
was
fucking
good.
dope on that.
Really good. Good shit, Ophied. He's been submitting for a while too, man. Appreciate it. Good stuff.
Fire.
Dish.
Insanity, dude.
This is where I just throw all my equipment in the trash. You know.
Nah, I may or may not have threatened him when I reposted the story.
Jesus.
I will not confirm or deny it.
That show was crazy. I mean, I think that's probably my favorite one that I've heard so far. Just the pocket on the drums just went crazy. And just the way it was structured and like how some of like the lighter synths pop in at the end. Yeah, that show was crazy.
Also, like the way that it just keeps elevating, like it starts out and it's already strong, but then it just like elevates. I don't know. I really like that shit.
Yeah, there's a science to sort of just like building up to like the crescendo, and I thought that one did it really well. Who did you say did that beat?
That's Jay Linga.
Jay Linga.
Yeah.
Well, salute to you, brother.
Yeah. You got
Yeah, Jay is like he's a beast, man.
Yeah.
That dude comes with, and he's doing ski. He's doing a lot of the bigger ones and shit.
Yeah,
He
he's one of the
Wait a minute.
finalists for
Come to
ski.
think of it, yeah, I think I remember seeing that name on one of the ski shits. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he's a problem. Like he'll sneak right in, tear up the whole situation.
And such a nice guy. Super nice.
Yeah.
Guy. Yeah.
No,
Looks
but
like
you meet him,
looks
you're
like a
like,
TV
you made
dad.
those beats?
Yeah, he looks like a TV dad. It's like,
Where's he from?
Shit, that's a good question. I think he told us we had him on. I don't remember where he's from.
From Family Ties.
Right. Yeah.
Well, he's out here in the U.S. somewhere.
Yeah.
is it Colorado?
Something like that.
He looks like he's from Colorado.
Were you just finding the widest state you could?
Yeah,
Then I would have been like Dakota.
yeah, he's from Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken.
Bro, this nigga's from Utah or something.
Yeah, he looks Amish, kind of. I'm not really sure. He's got a buggy and he churns butter. I don't know.
He'll love this, by the way. He's this. Good stuff, man. Thank you, Joe. Good stuff, man.
Special request to all you that
It's a little hectic out there. But right now, we gonna help you on how we just chill.
This is pretty good.
special request.
Hell yeah, man.
Ah, shit.
Damn, that shows. Man, I just said that the last one was like my favorite one, and now this one's giving him a run for its money, man.
Fuck you, Jay. Don't ever post nothing ever again.
And Roll is like super humble as well. Like he
Yeah.
always says it's like he doesn't trust the process. Like he does like what he's doing, but he feels like it's not good enough every time. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so good.
I think at some point, I think everybody kind of goes through that. Some people more than others, but I think everybody that creates anything kind of has that.
Well, I think there's a typical, and not even just producers, but just anyone involved in anything.
Yeah, create
just
like
creative.
any kind of creation. Yeah,
Yeah. There's always, I go from like, yeah, man, this shit sounding pretty crazy. This is hard, and then it's like, yo, none of these niggas can fuck with me. Like, come
Right.
see me.
Yeah.
Right down to like, bro, I'm like one more trash beat away from retirement. And then you somehow sort of get back up and like the cycle goes.
Let me ask you this real quick. Is there anything that you've made where you were not feeling it, but it's either like one of your biggest songs or you got one of the biggest artists on it? Does that question make sense? Like some shit that you weren't really feeling, but you gave it to, I don't know, Guilty Simpson, Blue, someone like that. And they were just like, yo, this shit is amazing. But you were kind of like, I ain't really feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, like I've done a bunch of songs with one of my homegirls out here, Allie, and it's almost a running joke now where it's like I intentionally send her mid because I know that when I get that bitch back, like, like I'll reevaluate entirely what I thought of it because it's like, sometimes you make certain beats that you kind of just need someone to rap on or to sing on to sort of unlock it. But to answer your first question, and it's funny because it's like if I make a beat and like for an album or something I'm doing, if I'm kind of 50-50 on if it even makes the cut, 9 out of 10 times that's going to be the one that gets playlisted. That's going to be the one that everyone's like, oh my God, like Elaquent, I can't believe you did it. And then, the one song that I poured my heart and soul into that I love to death, nobody gives a shit about it. Like,
literally just had this conversation last week on here about that. I said the same shit about some beats that I made. I was like, yo, this is fucking amazing. No response. There's one I threw out there and I was like, this shit is so whatever. And my fucking phone would not stop going off with people being like, yo, this is mind blowing. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Bro, like I'm to the point now where it's like I've even entertained like, man, I should drop a tape or something just on some pure like reverse psychology shit. Like it's going to be all like my mid ones, all the ones that I like almost just gave up and deleted. And bro, I'm gonna go like platinum on that shit.
That Prince Paul shit.
Just out of spite,
Yeah. I know he did that shit after he left De La Soul. He talked about that. He did that where he went and he kind of made like the most abstract shit that he could that he knew everybody would hate. And then it did the exact opposite. It got him a bunch of fucking attention and people were like losing their shit about it. So that's funny you said that.
Yeah, and it's and literally every single like artist I've had that conversation with, and it's all like, I don't know what it is. Maybe just in part when you really are emotionally invested and you spend so much time and out of it, or maybe people can just sense when you're not overthinking it and you're kind of just let it be free, results be damned. Because
like
it's
effortless thing, like
right? Because it's like only a handful of times I can recall, and we'll obviously get back into it soon. But only a handful of times in my career I recall my favorite personal song on the record also being the most successful or the one that people gravitated to the most. Because, like I said, 9 out of 10 times it's the 1 or 2 songs that I do not give a fuck about, and I only put on the record to sort of like, not to fill up the runtime, but it's like, I guess I can put it on. But but this one is going to be the main single. This is going to be the one that gets me in Billboard, and it's always the one that I don't care about.
It was wild how that works. Let's keep running. Phil Spector. man.
That was nice, man. Yeah.
Hypnotic.
Yeah.
Very,
the bass line he had going on there.
Yeah, very hypnotic loop. I was trying to just decide what MC I thought would like kill it while it was playing, and like I almost feel like that could be some dope like old school like co-flow type shit.
Mm-hmm. You know what came to mind for me is Cool Keith.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like some Analog Brothers shit or something.
Cool Keith beat.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Hell yeah. Nice, man. And I think that's his first submission to the Beatcast. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bro had me with the drums right off rip.
Mm-hmm. That like
that shows every episode. There's always a beat that's like that's what I was going for, but I could not get. You know, it's like that's what I would have loved to have done, but nah, I didn't even come close. That shit was dope.
Really good, man. Hope you keep writing it. Good stuff. This is Pablo's special.
This shit is dope.
Pablo gets the air horn.
Yeah,
fire, bro. Everyone's just jumping on just going crazy on the drums. These last like 5 or 6. But yeah, that pocket was crazy.
Nah, this shit was dope. And he's from Tucson, so I know when I go back, he doesn't know this yet, but we kind of we don't like each other. You know what I mean? And I plan on like when I get back to Tucson, I'm gonna find where he stays. I'm covering all his pads and shit in tortillas, just because we're from Tucson. So I'll just fuck his whole spot up with tortillas.
Hell yeah,
bro! That's some elaborate shit, dog. Like.
That's Delvon's whole scheme. Like, see, he worked his way up. He joined the Beatcast.
Just figure out where people live.
Just bring all their equipment.
Corn or flour?
Flour, but shitty Texas flour tortillas. I'm not wasting the good ones that we got in Tucson. And like, that's the thing. Over there, like it's just like a lot of Mexican food. It's my favorite type of food, but I'm not wasting good shit on. No, like if I'm a fucking studio up, I'm gonna do it with terrible ones. We gotta. I'm recycling. I'm just doing it in a bad area. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Papa Station, man. The show was dope.
He had to make it better at it.
A little sweet, a little sour.
Fuck that guy. You know what? But shout out to him. You know, nah, that shit is that dude is always dope. Every time he puts something out. It's fucking incredible.
Watch, no, someone's actually gonna like throw a bunch of tortillas at his house or something like that. Then they're gonna come back to you. It's like,
No, man, and then it sounds bad because his name is Pablo, and then I just said some brown shit. Like it just sounds very wrong now that I just thought about that out loud. Somebody's gonna take this clip and just make me the most racist.
I'll make a reel.
Thank you so much.
You'll never be a councilman.
Nah, I want, and it's gonna be one of those like fucking ad campaigns that they use it like in the presidential cycle where they make it like red tint and then they just take little snippets of shit that I say, and it's just me at the end with like something over my eyes saying like, "Don't vote for this guy." I just fucked my whole career up. But
I like that you already edited though. You said something over your eyes instead of tortillas. So you're getting better. You didn't say tortillas this time. You said something over my eyes. Yeah. Good job. You're getting better.
Oh shit.
That video was wild, yo.
That's why I'm laughing. I was expecting some horrendous shit to happen at the end where they all got cooked or something like that.
I was about to
what
say,
was
man,
the next step?
I was about to say I'm low key like disappointed that the shit ended as quick as they did. I needed to see how that story ended.
Oh no, it got dark. We didn't see the rest of it, but I know some fucking horrible shit happened right at the end. It had to.
I don't know that pig was wilding. Anyways, I fuck with the beat though. I mean, I like that snare, especially that he used.
Yeah, that was New Rudis, right?
Yeah, New Rudis.
Yes. So he does all his own. He does sample packs and everything too. He's on the ski like a guest contributor on like ski beat stuff and everything too.
Yeah.
Fire.
We're lucky enough to have we were able to partner with him too. So he's doing a Beatcast sample pack. So that'll be available soonish here. That'll be coming out with us as well, which will be available at the Patreon. RC Peters. Talk about moving your shoulders to. You yawned a second ago. That shit was so disrespectful. So shout out that this man disrespected.
Just and dude just had a birthday too, man.
High. And that's what I was going to lead in with. Happy birthday, fam! Many more to you. Much love. Keep contributing and creating, dope shit. And screw anybody with a beard that's below me.
That shit was dope. That was really good, man.
That eye contact as well, like so intense.
Yeah,
it reminded me. When you watch serial killer documentaries and they like do the corpse straight up
staring straight into your soul.
Like slowly pans into him.
Oh my god!
The videography of that was wild, and I mean, man was flexing with the stunner shades. Yeah. But I did like I like the way that beat kind of like kept evolving as it went on. Like he sort of flipped the drum pattern a few times and so forth. Yeah, that shit was ill.
Oh yeah, really good. RC Peters, appreciate you, man. That was good stuff. He was the head of Ostrich Head too. I don't know if you guys heard of Ostrich Head. Really cool rap group from back in the day. Yeah.
Are they from like NorCal or is it a different one I'm thinking of?
Somewhere in Cali, yes. I can't fucking remember now exactly, and DJ Bad DJ was a part of that as well. He also participates when he has a chance. But he was like one of the, if not the like lead rapper in that group. Ostrich Head was tight, man. But yeah, shout out to RC Peters.
Dope.
Beat Smith with Door.
A game.
Nice. And Beat Smith reminded us earlier that he's from Wyoming.
I could have sworn it would have been Utah, but
still, no, Wyoming's still obviously this is a really white place, so it's not wrong. It's still an okay assumption. Anything that we assume was still okay, and even the fact is still okay. It doesn't change anything. Where is Beat Smith from?
Beat Smith, he's from here.
No, he's from Wyoming, but he lives out here now. He's in Mesa. Yeah.
The spot that he filmed, I assume that's his own video. Is that Cobra in Tempe?
I know from his stories, he's in the chat here, so he'll probably say. But I know in the stories, I think he was somewhere, something like that.
Okay, because that looks like Cobra from
Cobra's in Phoenix, though, downtown Phoenix.
Yeah. There's one in Chandler.
There's in Tucson. There's one in Tucson, right?
Well.
Yeah, no, the Tucson. I've been to that one quite a bit, but the one that's in Phoenix, I've been to before. That kind of looks like it. It's been a little bit since I've been there, though. But
he says Starfighters Arcade.
Okay, yeah, that's another one I've heard of, but
I've been there. I went there with Mega Ran.
Real quick, out of nowhere.
Mega Ran, that's the bro. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mega Ran's tight, man. I put a poll in the chat just to test it for this beat battle coming up. It's just a random poll. If you could just test it for me, so in the chat, doesn't matter what you say. I just want to test it. It only goes for a few seconds, and then you'll see it up at the top. But yeah, Beat Smith with Dora is a really cool cat. He does a radio show too with Joey Baggs out here called Jim Works Radio, which is pretty cool. I like seeing radio still happening. You know, especially small independent radios stations.
College radio is still where it's at, dog.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's a deeper investment in college radio because anybody that works at a college radio station is bound to go somewhere.
No, it's a lot of passion too. You know what I mean? It's not just passion. Like it's not motherfuckers that are like doing it for
you're not
because they have to. Like it's because they want to do something with it. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
Like my older brother used to host university radio out here, and even after he graduated, they still let him come in and like do the show for another couple of years. And it was always unpaid shit, but just like you said, I mean, everyone I know who does it, I mean, they're doing it from a place because they used to have him like they would let him do his hip hop show, but it was like Sunday night at like 2 o'clock in the
2
morning
a.m.
or some
Right.
shit,
Yeah.
where realistically there couldn't have been any more than like 20 people listening at any given time, and he knew that, but but it was more than that. So yeah, you don't do that shit as long as he did it for, if you're not just really just in it for the love.
Right.
Especially at 2 a.m. and and then the cats that you connect with that, because that's also you're creating content, you're creating a catalog, I should say.
Yeah.
So you can always reference it, come back to it, rerun it, put it some other places.
I mean, and even if you think about it on like a bigger scale, a lot of legendary shit has happened from, like college radio style shit. Because what? Stretch and Bobbito, that was what that was. You know what I mean? Like, that's how that started. Even like, I don't know if this would be more or less obscure, but like 40 Deuce and Frozen Files, like that type of shit is kind of what got Rock Marciano on the next level with the UN. Because that's from what I understand, Q-Tip actually started that shit, if I'm not mistaken, and then it went from there, and that's how like he connected with Pete Rock. There's a lot of different shit that happens from college radio, but I think it's super important, and I'm glad that it's still a thing. You know what I mean?
And even shout out to the homie Joe K. I mean, Selection is
Selection
like that shit is a machine now, but for folks who weren't really down in the beginning, I mean, he used to just do it out the university studio over in Long Beach in LA, and that shit is just, I mean, it's on Apple Music now, and I mean,
it's touring worldwide. It's
worldwide,
big
4-hour-long sets, and it's
every big festival
for sure. But if you were, but you never, like, nobody apart from maybe him, would have seen that shit coming back in like 2009 or whenever it was when he first started to do.
But it's like that you build and you build and you build until it's and then once you get to a place, it just blows up completely out of your control, and it's like you look around and you're actually making a living and doing it, being calm about it.
Facts.
But yeah, man, shout out Beatsmith Bedore. That was a good beat, and check out Gymworks Radio, man, for sure. He goes Tape, John Sandoval.
John.
Yo, the air and the drums and like the little bit of reverb, that shit, I really like the drums in that shit a lot.
Yeah, I love those rides.
Drums are great, man. I definitely enjoyed it. I kind of felt like I was waiting for like a bass line or something to kick in, and it didn't. So maybe that's like my only.
You're kind of waiting for a little something.
Well, it just felt like I was waiting for like that thing to happen, and it kind of just ended before it did. But in a vacuum, it's definitely a good beat.
Yeah, thanks to Tape for picking that. He pulled that sample this week too.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, before we move on, I need to know what the TAPE acronym stand for.
It's anyway the Atomic Peace Ensemble, I think, right? Or am I right? Or,
that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. And,
does that change the beat for you? Like, you hate it more now because the acronym? It's like, yeah, you fuck this shit. This is stupid.
Does that change the beat?
I take back everything I said.
That's yeah.
Oh shit, man. Love it.
No, real shit. That was dope.
Good stuff, man. Shout out to John, man. We appreciate you. Let's keep it running here.
was interesting.
That shit makes me want to buy a Scion. like right now. It's fucking 10:38 at night where I'm at. I want to buy a Scion right now. Right in this second.
But it has to be like a tropical color one, like like a blue or orange
taffy,
one,
like a fucking Cameron bar. Like I just gotta buy something fucking candy colored.
Oh yeah.
This nigga said Scion.
Hey, I had the Scion, man.
Oh shit, that's hilarious.
I had the XB.
Did you have was your fucking beard flowing through the window and that shit? Like when you were driving?
Dude, that was when that was when I had the pencil thin shit, man. That was back then.
Nigga, you had a chin strap?
Yeah, man. Times have changed.
Oh my god. Oh shit. Bro, you said you got the chin strap.
I don't have any of those pictures anymore.
Bro, that was a sad era for
yeah.
Oh shit.
I was in my boy band steez,
No, what kind of glasses did you have? Now I need to know I need to know the whole shit.
You know those little rectangle ones?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like the fucking.
It's funny. I was living in San Diego at the time too.
Oh, okay. Oh my god.
But good beat, man, and thank you for submitting.
Yeah,
You're digging it. It just has that upbeat kind of like peppy, like you want to start doing this. Maybe mall walk to it. Like,
you want to shoulders. You want to get them shoulders into it.
Get the shoulders going when you're walking to your table at Applebee's with your Scion parked outside. Absolutely, 100%. That shit was dope. I like that shit.
It took us in a different direction.
You're dressed like a Saint Lunatic.
Look at the mask on the side.
Are those 3840 jeans?
Oh my god!
And Air Force Ones all the way underneath the cuff.
Hell yeah!
Good bro, you're gonna get PTSD with that shit, dog.
And I think if this is the video that I'm thinking of, speaking of the Saint Lunatic shit, just let the video
it's
play.
Like perfect for it? Okay.
Yo, I think it's perfect.
Crazy.
You could not tell him that yellow hat wasn't it.
Hold on, take a picture of myself real quick, son.
This is books.
That beat is
that was fucking dope right
there. The only thing that dude was missing in that video though is that fucking those Brian Pumper chains that they always make fun of, where they're like, "Yo, he wearing like negative $32,000 worth of jewelry."
Negative 32.
All that dude was missing.
Why Brian Pumper?
You know what I'm talking about. You've seen this shit.
I know
where
Brian
like
Pumper looks
19
real
chains and they're like fucking all right here, but they sound like aluminum hitting each other and shit. They're made out of candy bar wrappers. Yeah. Like, nah. I don't know. That beat was dope as shit though.
Books is from here in AZ, I believe. I think.
That was dope.
That was I think that was definitely one of my favorite ones too. I mean, that shit. I mean, I think that was sort of one of those like less is more type joints. You got like some good, clean, simple drums, and I think he just approached the sample. I think he sort of he used like the right bits of the sample and just created something really fire there. Like that's some shit I can see. Like I get tagged on IG all the time from like a lot of folks in like the dancer community will just like do whatever on some hip hop shit. Like that's
Do that again. Do that again. There you go. All right, cool.
So I mean that's a type of beat I could see like getting some traction on the competition circuit. Like kind of if you know you know. But yeah, really enjoyed that shit. That was definitely one of my faves.
Really good. Shout out Book,
That
man.
one. I want to go back to the Scion thing. So, Zilla made a good point. They were invested heavy into the hip hop scene back in the day, especially the underground scene.
Yeah.
They actually
They
there was
they
a-
hosted one of those events.
They did a lot of Blunt Club. I think they were a Blunt Club sponsor, which was weekly out here back in the day. But I remember I had a Scion mixtape. I think it was Rentmatic mixed it, and it had the original version of Dilla and Madlib's The Red on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like that was like
yeah.
the only place you could find that at the time because
Yep.
the sample clearance and all that.
Yep, that was because they would do the lo-fi. Scion had one, and they had the Scion DJ events too, and where they would send out Questlove or Rich Medina or Ninth Wonder. He came out here.
Am I tripping? They paired with Low End Theory at one point, right?
Yeah, they were connected to everybody in hip hop because they were just like super invested.
Yeah, they were kind of on their Red Bull shit.
Red Bull
It felt like Scion, Red Bull. There's a few others who are just ingrained, and it felt like every big or major hip hop or beat event, it felt like they were always like a part of the sponsorship group. So yeah, as much as we sort of got those jokes off, shouts out to Scion.
And at least
See, I
it
was
wasn't like
representing.
Chevy Malibu or something, you know what I mean? Chevy Malibu presents.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why Mazda isn't flying me out to
Right.
book me on a festival or some shit.
Look
Like,
at that, Mazda. Speaking of
come
which,
on,
was it a
Mazda.
Chevy? Was it a Chevy Malibu? Or was that a different Malibu? Is that Chrysler? Doesn't matter.
No, Chevy Malibu.
Chevy, I got it right. Okay. I don't know. Valentino DeMarco. Nice, man.
That was dope.
That transition was dope.
Yeah, strong drums.
Really digging that, man. I appreciate that you keep submitting stuff to the Beatcast, man. Keep doing that. We love hearing it. So we are running a bit long. Usually we're around 2 hours, but it's not every day that we have Elaquent here. We have a little less than half of these to go. So we'll kind of speed it up a little bit so we can get through them all because we want to make sure we get them all heard. But here we go. This is
When they reminisce over you, my God. I reminisce. When they reminisce over you, my God.
hell yeah, all in the
Oh,
zone.
super dope.
Shout out to All in the Zone, man. That's the homie.
Yep, straight out of some some golden era '90s shit. Yeah, I like that sound.
Really good. Tatsubaki says if the next sample isn't a Scion commercial, you guys will never hear from me again. And he's gonna report us. Okay. Shit, we're sorry. We don't know.
Shout out Tattoo.
Messy goods. Nice, man.
That was dope, Messy.
He's never afraid to get out there and get experimental with it. He'll fuck around, and try some different things.
He gets weird with it.
He'll get weird with it. Shout out to Messy.
Yeah, Weirdos cool. Unite.
What's that?
It's cool to get weird.
What? There we go.
It's cool to get weird.
Pete's Homegrown Beats. Nice, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I wish the second part of the beat was a little longer. I really liked when that switched.
Yeah, the switch up, it really had something to it. I think that might be the direction for that one.
I can see him in that studio with like crazy hair not coming out for like 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, put these together.
Yeah, I'll show you this.
Yeah, so my man's has like a bedpan on the other like side of the room.
Yeah, it's like how long have you been in this room?
My man has like 3 days worth of like Doritos and like various like snack foods in the corner, but he's good.
Yeah,
my man's is good.
Yeah, man.
Once again, though, I like that. I like that last change up at the very end.
Yeah, same. I was just about to say.
I think that shit had like the most promise on it.
funny. I was looking down when that video came on and like that first hit. Like, I knew exactly who that was.
That's hilarious that you said that. The same shit, man. Like, I don't know.
Oh, there's Marcus.
Everything has like a particular sound from him, and I fucking love it.
Bombastic.
Yeah, like this sounds disrespectful, but I don't mean it in that way. It sounds very blown out, but I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a good blowout.
Fire is a danger.
There he is.
It can burn whole buildings if someone is careless. But we are ready for fire. We have a fine fire department to put out the fire. You have fire drills in your school, so you know what to do.
Dude, that was good, dude.
So Elaquent, I got a question. Without looking at the name, do you think that last one deserves like somebody being signed off of it, possibly? You know, maybe getting some kind of record deal off of it, something like that. Do you?
Yes, Ludacris should come find that producer.
I'm just saying, whoever that was, just out of curiosity.
Ludacris could go ham on it. I mean, I ain't going. I mean, I'm with that shit, bro. I mean, I'm very one track minded with like the shit that I really like, and you know, whenever I get that drum swing, you know, that just sends me into another place. I mean, I just completely zoned out on that shit. That was definitely my favorite one that I heard.
God damn it, that's exactly what I was waiting for. I didn't even know you were going to be here, even though I knew you were going to be here. Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
That was a good video.
Yeah, but
was there enough movement?
Lots of movement.
There was a lot of movement in that one.
A lot of fucking movement in that one. God damn it! I tried to shit myself.
But I mean, the beautiful thing with these things, at least whenever, like on occasion when I get to do them, it's like I literally have, you know, like I'm not tipped off to who's playing what. You know,
right.
And you know, it could be one of the homies, it could be someone I don't know or I've never heard before, and you know, you just react in real time, and you know, like that shit hit my soul from like the first snare. So I mean, so salute to you, brother. That shit. That's one of the best shits I've heard in a minute.
Well, I don't usually let men slide in my DMs, but if you want to send me a fucking record deal, if you want to just go ahead and creep one over my way. I don't know how any of that shit works, but just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
Good shit,
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Incredible.
That was awesome, man.
This shit is dope.
Just walks away.
That shit,
bro. It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I killed it. I did my job. Like, I'm just leave y'all to your own devices.
That shit was really like I like how moody it was and how it like kept kind of it kept like manifesting new shit through it. I really dig that one. That's probably like my top 3.
Man, that was a whole other level right there.
Yeah, that shit
crazy.
is dope.
He goes into with all of the different, the way he was telling me he spends like this first whole day just working on the drums alone and like really getting in and digging in before he gets into the sample as well. It's
I know you're trying to move on fast. Can I ask, sir? I have to ask you a question. How long does it like on a typical beat? How long does it take you to make? Are you one of those guys where like your process is like a 15-minute type thing, maybe an hour? Are you one of those dudes where like you're fucking tweaking a snare for 3.5 days, just the frequency of it? Like how are you?
So for up until very, very recently, I've always been one of those like I'll take my time with the shit. So I might make a beat like the foundation or like the gist of it in, I don't know, a half hour or something like that. But I might spend literally the next 2 or 3 weeks just tweaking or just listening to the same loop for hours on end, trying to figure out like, well, what does it need or what more to add to it and so forth. And yeah, I might literally spend a weekend just trying to like pick out the right kick drum to go with it. What I've sort of, and while that's always been my process, it's hard to be very productive that way. I mean, I don't have any issue taking my time, but lately, after just getting some new plugins and some new drum kits and hanging out with some folks that I really respect, I mean, I've really been trying to kind of just 30 minutes, move on, like right. whenever I if I sell the beat or if I end up using it on one of my records, I'll eventually come back to it and maybe, add some more shit or tweak it or so forth. But I'm really trying to, like, contrary to, like, despite all the number of albums that I have, like, I don't, I'm not one of those guys who makes like, 5 beats in a day, or at least I hadn't been for like since I was like in my early 20s, and when guys who want to work with you are like, yo, send me a pack, and I'm like, I kind of don't have a pack, like everything that I've got, like it's for the album, or like I'll make you some new shit, don't worry. But I'm trying to get back into that mode of like, try to do 3, 4, 5 in a day, and you can't do that if you're obsessing over, a snare for hours at a time. So.
Yeah, there's something to be said about not being too precious about your stuff,
Definitely.
Well, and the other thing is that, when you make, I really want to make like a classic, and I really want to make like the beat of all beats, but what you sort of realize is that, well, if I'm as good as I think I am, or if I'm as good as people believe me to be, then, I should be able to make another very good beat. So it's like, fuck it, let it go. If the beat's trash, or if it's not, coming together, I don't have to spend all weekend trying to like rehabilitate it and force it and turn it into something great. Like sometimes I'm just going to make shitty beats, or I'm going to make mid beats, and that's okay. It's just on to the next one,
Facts.
Uh-oh.
This one's dope as hell.
Okay. Oh, dog's feeling it.
I like what he did. Really creative.
Very creative. Yeah. Okay, I think
Yeah.
that one's crazy. And I mean, if you know me, like I said, like I like that chill shit. Um, so I guess outside of Mr. Watson, I mean
Whoever the fuck that guy is. But
fuck
continue.
that guy.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of my favorite ones. Drums was on point, and yeah, and he took a very, as you guys said, a very original approach to that sound.
Yeah. Shout
The
out to
bass,
Jacob. I think that's
man,
his first one too. That he did.
That shit, that's top 3 for me.
Top 3 facts.
The bass in it, like the way that I like how he waited to put the bass line in. I love the spacing of the drums. Fucking shakers are a cheat code for me. If you do that in something, I will almost automatically like it. Especially the way that he did it. The frequencies were really smooth on that shit. It was very moody. And just like when the bass comes in with the drums and how it was hitting, it was fucking perfect. The pocket, I love that shit. Top 3.
Facts.
Yeah, good shit, man. Shout out to Jacoba.
Where the great would not be constrained by the small. The sweat of your brow, that can become.
I thought he said the sweat of your balls. Alan, is that one of them there video games?
That's BioShock.
BioShock, right?
Dose.
Really dig that, man. Super chill vibe.
Yeah.
Facts. Man, I've never really played BioShock before, and everyone keeps telling me it's a classic. Man, I gotta run that up.
It's
modern. Oh, I'm modern. This shit's retro now. It came out in 07, but yeah, it's one a lot of people like. Number 2, but I think Infinite's like the polarizing one, but people are the most passionate about it.
Yeah.
Was that the one where they're like, instead of it being underwater, it's like in the sky or something?
Yeah. And then that game that just recently came out, I just beat it actually. Atomic Heart is very inspired by BioShock Infinite.
I just started that, man. That's cool.
There's a lot of like frustrating elements to it. And usually games are like very vaporous for me. Like I fucking uninstall a game immediately if I hate it. That game I played all the way through, and I unlocked like all of the extra shit that you were supposed to do. I really enjoy that game, man.
Bree has checked out. He does not like video games.
He just put a picture up there.
Yeah. Bree does not give a shit about video games.
Well, that's why he said a minute ago, like when it came out, is that one of them damn ninja games on the screen?
He's waiting to eat his candy bar or whatever now.
Tell me about that video game. He pulls out a bowl of ramen. Oh yeah, man. Good stuff. 508 Dose. That was phenomenal, man. We love you. Nice, man.
Fire.
He's due to the Beatcast. Pre-drift music, man. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate that.
Shout out that.
It's abstract. I dig it.
Yeah, Tigger says from Vancouver.
Okay.
Okay, so he's
that's the guy. Okay. I was waiting for a guy from Vancouver. I wasn't sure.
What's the
Oh,
I know where Vancouver is. I was
it's
just
right
there.
around the corner.
Okay.
Just there.
Technically, there's 2 Vancouvers. From what I understand, there's one in
Exactly.
Washington State.
Exactly.
Oh,
I was in
shit.
Washington State. I was there.
It's the upset of the century right now. Hey, you know what? Speaking of places that are out there, so Guelph. You're originally from Guelph. There's a cat named Noah 23 that's out there. Have you worked with him?
Yes, I have. He is. Like folks sort of throw the OG title around loosely nowadays. And obviously, I don't expect everyone to know who he is, but like as far as guys out of Guelph, like just in hip hop, it's me, it's him, and there's like one other guy. But like growing up, there wasn't like a big hip hop scene or anything in the city. But he was one of those guys who was like touring Europe and that shit just seemed so unattainable. Like if you're, at least for me, because the perception was, if you're not from Toronto, if you're not from Vancouver, if you're not from New York or one of these big metropolis cities, your ceiling was pretty low. And so hearing that this guy's been around the world and much like me, it's like nobody knows him like locally like that, but folks in pockets of the world like really respect what he does.
Plague language and all that.
Yeah, Plague Language for sure.
Years ago, I was on like
I saw him like 2 weeks ago actually. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, we're at that King of the Dots Pat Stay show, and I just saw him randomly. I hadn't seen him in a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I talked to him briefly a million years ago. It was in somewhere around like maybe 99 or 2000 or some shit, like on some AOL board or something like that, like a chat board or something. I was like, hey man, dude, your fucking music's really good. And he's like, okay. Okay. And I was like, yeah, good point. I'm just saying I really like your music. And but he always stood out to me. He ended up doing a lot of stuff. It was crazy when I found out he's from, Canada. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Fucking hip hop's literally everywhere, and I related a lot to the fact because in Arizona at that time, you couldn't even book a show out here. They just didn't book hip hop acts. They were like, no, fuck you guys, we're not doing that, So
yeah, actually, I've always wanted to play in Arizona, and that's one of like those few pockets of states that apparently I have no fans in. But I'm dying to go out there,
dude.
Nah,
I can make that happen. Let's
connect
with other people.
No, fuck Al. If you sign me, I can help you. We can do it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's all good. Just moving on. Just want to throw that out there. Yeah. Moving on.
No, Delvon's blacklisted from all the clubs out here. He can't get you.
I want to play the race card, but I'm too light skinned.
At the Waffle House. Do it at the Waffle House.
Fucking Waffle.
You come all the way out to Arizona. We set you up at the Waffle House. You're like,
but I mean, it's like I work with like the guys from Mellow Music. I mean, like the guy who runs it. Yeah, he's based in Tucson. So like, is there are there many events out there or no?
Yeah.
And especially
it's a good scene because it's a lot of local cats that like help keep shit together and keep shit going to make the scene that much thicker. So it's kind of self-contained. So it's pretty good.
I mean, because like I'm sort of at that part of my life now where it's like, I just get a kick out of just going to and just checking out just new places I haven't been to. Whereas I feel like sort of at the height of my touring, my whole perspective was always like, if I don't get booked to play somewhere, I don't want to be there. And now it's kind of just like, well, yeah, it'll be cool to play, but fuck it, even if I'm just there to just visit and just check it out. I mean, that shit's a lot more like alluring to me nowadays.
Yeah, we can absolutely. I mean, between Delvon's got a lot of connections in Tucson. I'm sure there's a lot of cats in like Soft Cannibals from Tucson, and they have an event over there. That's the Push Square event, right? That they have over there.
Yeah.
And then in AZ, they have like the brunch collective that they do. Those guys would freak the fuck out, I'm sure, to have you over here. And there's a bunch of other guys. There's Universal Town Music. There's a lot of people we can.
Well, shit, even closer to your area, something like Pot of Gold. Like,
sure.
I know that's a really big one. Like, they had like Kendrick and J. Cole and all, like a lot of really big artists, and it's like a festival. And it's not something that you have to play every single day. The dope part about Pot of Gold is it's like usually it's like 3 days, but every day is a little bit different. Like the first day is like more they're big artists, but it'll be like more like pop oriented. And then the second day will be some other shit. And then like day 3 will be like more of the rap thing. They kind of mix it in throughout the 3 days, but you'll have like the main type of music, that specific day or whatever. But
yeah, there's spots we could definitely get you in at.
Yeah, man, it's a big thing. And especially something like Tucson specifically. I think a venue like the Rialto would be really dope for you. It's like I don't want it sounds weird. It's like an intimate type spot, but it also holds like quite a bit of people, and it's something where like a lot of the bigger artists will end up performing, so I think that would be super dope.
I mean, obviously nothing's been planned or confirmed, but I'm going to be working with Mellow Music again on some more records and some other cool things that are I guess sort of being plotted. So I would imagine that at some point this year I'll probably be out in Tucson because that's where the headquarters are at. So yeah. I mean, show or no show. I mean, if I'm out there, I'll definitely hit you guys
for sure. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Mellow, the headquarters is off of like 4th Ave, if I'm not mistaken. And 4th Ave is right around the corner from the spot that I was telling you about called the Rialto. If you look the shit up on a map, you can walk to it. I'm saying, literally, it's around the fucking corner. Ask anybody in the chat that's from Tucson; they will confirm what I'm saying. Not Bree's definition of fucking around the corner.
But now, if you just say around it's right around the corner.
It just automatically, it goes to him.
It just happens.
Yeah.
There he is. There goes Bree.
Oh. While I'm traveling.
That shit.
You fooled us there.
I like what you did.
Yeah, no, that shit went in a direction that I wasn't expecting. Mm-hmm. That is no Windows in the van music right there, though. Straight up, that's just like
my man just killing these analogies today.
That is what fucking Pennywise. That's like the type of shit that when someone gets stuck under a drain, you know what I'm saying? That's what you play, like when they're on their way to getting, pulled in. But no, that shit was dope, Bree. Like on the real, that shit was.
I love those like those unexpected like switch ups. Because like you hear a chord progression, and even though before you hear it, you sort of have an idea of kind of where it could possibly go, but when you sort of switch it up all together. I like that bold, unpredictable shit.
Really,
definitely.
Good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice, dude.
Am I dreaming? I think I'm dreaming.
That shit is
That
so
was
ridiculous. The fucking he did some cheat code shit. That drum break is one of my favorites. So, but the way he made, like the way he EQ'd it, it was like super bold, but it also left like a lot of room for the sample to play. That shit was just super dope across the board. I really like that shit a lot.
Fire.
Good shit.
Yeah.
Man. Dig it, little treasures. Keep it running.
That was some super bass right there.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah, I mean that shit. Like I dug it. It's like the first half of the bar is like in 4/4, and like the other half of it like changes speeds or and you know like it kind of threw me off. Like I kept like what's wrong with me? Why can't I catch the beat? You know.
My favorite was watching y'all's heads bob to like try to catch it, and then like it didn't happen. That shit was funny. But nah, and that reminded me of like those like Low End Theory sets where it was like some super beat battle type shit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it obviously it's got that like that 404 set, you know, it's got that kind of thing going on, the whole stutter effect. But nah, that shit was super strong.
Yeah, I was really digging that. It was gritty too. Had like a
ruggedness to it.
It was aggressive. Shout out Sticky Hands, man. That shit was phenomenal. Here comes Soft
Shout
Cannibal.
out Sticky, right?
SC.
This one's great.
Put it off 2 beans and LSD. I watched Queens from the top of a Las Vegas building. Felt like the Sheik from WWE in the 70s, except to jump from the top rope was life-threatening. Took DMT to see the mechanical elf on a shelf. Down on the strip, I nearly lost myself. Ego death, how do I even ask for help? Like Steve Brule, enjoy the ride, cause it's for your health. This wealth of knowledge can backfire. Tripped so hard I started my own episode of The Wire. Got wrapped up for someone large with Jordanian fat buyer. Had to hotwire a car before I perspired and dropped the pliers. Not to mention all the research chemicals, the weed, the coke, the booze, the mushrooms, and the animals. Back to the room, getting instincts that are animal. Valium and speed will snap me out before I'm too deeply cannibal. Gaze on the dances of strippers. Decipher the mystic figures. Drink the most expensive type of liquors until you can read the ancient scriptures. Gaze on the dances of strippers. Decipher the mystic figures. Drink the most expensive type of liquors until you can read the ancient scriptures.
Dog, this shit is an experience.
Yeah, every time, man. That dude has some fucking hilarious lines. Like every time, he's got some really funny shit to say.
Bro, like I'm a big pro wrestling guy, so whenever anyone can slide in some like WWF or WWE reference, I mean, he's already made a fan out of me just on that alone.
I know he mentioned The Wire for me, so that one did it.
Yeah.
My favorite was I drink only the most expensive liquors over and over again. It's like the way he's putting that to her. Shout out to Soft Cannibal, man. You're fucking awesome. He's putting out a whole album too, so stay tuned with him, and you'll get a whole record of that coming. We're down to just a few left, so we did run super long this time, but this has been a blast. I've been absolutely, I love this episode. So thank you so much for hanging with us, Elaquent.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas.
Absolutely.
Does it again. Hey, you know what that?
Yeah, that colonoscopy video. Yeah.
Oh, I went the other direction.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
How I Met Your Mother. Oh, it is.
Oh, there you go, sir.
Always killing it, man.
Yeah, every time.
That was fresh.
I do want to point out, me and him are trying to find a video. That was originally supposed to be a completely different video. We're trying to find a particular video online right now. It has to do with a young black guy with a very old white woman driving a vehicle. If anyone knows the goddamn name of that video, please send it to me. I've been looking for it. Me and him have both been trying to find it. We cannot find it.
Is it Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg?
No, negative. No, it is. The dude is probably in his like late teens, very early 20s. The woman is like 94. You know what I'm talking about.
I know
you know what I'm talking about. If you find that goddamn video, please.
Because they be dancing together and shit. Not
the TikTok couple, not them. Like this woman, she can
that
barely
TikTok
move.
couple. I was watching them yesterday for like an hour, man.
Is that what you sent us?
Yeah, that's the shit I sent you. I was like, yo, this is so bizarre.
Yeah, they're like
they was
an
doing
actual
karaoke.
couple.
They was talking. They were hanging out and stuff. Like they're entertaining. It's just a lot of people hate on them. I feel bad for them. I'm like, this is actually not bad. Like they just doing karaoke and shit. It's horrible, but hey, you know. I mean, shit. I watch worse shit on Hulu and shit. You know.
Well, Proc's been like he's been releasing a lot of craziness lately. Like just with the video content aside, but his fucking beats are really fucking elevating, man. Shit's tight, dude. I dig that. Let's keep it running though. Now he told us how to pronounce this, but I still don't understand.
I didn't get the memo.
Nice, man. That's another one of those mall walk vibes.
Yeah,
you know?
that's that Gran Turismo music right there.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's like Gut Top or something like this. He said I think he's from France.
Heine Beats, is that what?
Yeah,
Heine. Yes,
but yeah, man.
Heine. Yeah, Heine.
Ooh, with the roller coaster tycoon.
Yeah, I think that's like the very first one.
This is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, I'm up on him. Yeah.
He's also going to be in the battle. Nice, man.
That was hard. Love the drums on it.
I'm just now getting acquainted with Obi-Wan Kenobi's production, but I see that he's kind of heavy out there in the beat community doing his thing. And
Nigga's dope, man. Like I fuck with him a lot.
Yeah, I'm happy to have him as part of the Beatcast. Plus, he'll be in the Beatcast along with Little Treasures. There's a few of the cats that were Zilla. He's going to be in there as well in the beat battle, Friendly Fade. Looking forward to seeing those guys go head to head.
This shit.
See, I really like that.
God damn.
That shit's good, man.
Oh, man.
I love that bass, that moving bass line in there. That was
that shit was phenomenal. Fantastic. I did not hear that one. Like I thought good Lord.
Had me at the roads once again.
Those Austrian guys are like super cool. Like that was the guy before that you guys liked, Jigova. So they're all like kind of a gang, as I understand.
And
like, it's super cool that they're
gangs
joining us as well. That's so
I'm just
cool.
imagining dudes in fancy ass suits just being like, man, we're gonna come and get you. They're just holding frappuccinos with pistols in the other hand and shit.
Don't fuck with him, bro.
So good, man. So good. Thank you for submitting. He's been submitting, pretty regularly now, so we appreciate you hopping in. You say they're from where? Austria?
Austria, yeah. So him, Rolly One, Jigova, they're all Austrians.
Absolutely phenomenal, man. I hope you guys keep submitting, man.
Yeah, that was one of my
that shit's really dope, man.
Shouts out to Austria. That's such a beautiful ass place.
Oh,
yeah, it's right.
Right
yeah,
on.
no, I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it, Bree.
You said it.
Yes.
Here. Shit's crazy. Absolutely my favorite one.
Yeah, that shit does it.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
heavy.
that one
shit's
number one to me. That shit. I think I listened to that shit like 6 times in a row when it finally popped up. That shit is incredible. The fucking bass, it's really like menacing. The drums are perfect. Like the way he dropped it out and brought it back in. I fucking love that one.
Makes you want to fist fight a mountain lion or something, dude. That shit's fucking
Bro,
tight.
that shit's sinister, man.
I've done that. I made a video about how to like do it and not get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was hella like sinister. I mean, like I hear that shit and I want to like grab a plasma cutter and like go crazy on some necromorphs or some shit.
Hell yeah,
that shit's filth.
They should reach out to cats like that for beats like that for what's that game? Dead Space? That would be
that's what he's what he talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, when they make the Dead Space 2 remake that is rumored, they definitely need to hit him up. But no question, that shit is absolutely my favorite one.
Good shit, King Debbie.
The rest is empty with no brain, but the clever nerd, the best MC with no chain you ever heard. Take it from the Tech 9 holder. Black they bit and don't know they neck shine from Shinola. Everything that glitter ain't fish scale. Let me think, don't let her faint, get Ishmael. A shot of Jack got her back, it's not an axe stack. Forgot about the cackalack, holler back, clack, clack, blocker. Villainy, feel him in your heart, chakra, chart topper. Start shit stopper, be a smart shopper. Shot a cop day around the way, bout the stable. Who to know is too molded, wonder where the shooter go. Bout to jet, get him, not a bet, get him. Let him spit the venom, said him, got a lot of shit with him. Let the rhythm hit him. It's stronger than the other voice, we makes the joints to make him spread them butter moist, man, please. States made of panties, from the age of baby hoochies on to the grannies. Ban me the dope rake, daddy, the flow make her fatty shake. Patty cake for fake. If he wasn't need a baker's man, he'd take her for her masters. Hit it once and shake her hand. On some old thank you, ma'am, and ghost her. She can mind the toaster if she signed the poster.
You know what? I dig that. Scalesi's been submitting to the Beatcast for a long time. It's funny, look, everybody's falling off because they got to go take a piss. We usually never run this long. People are like, fuck, I can't do it. You know what? Using an MF Doom acapella is usually that's going to be a cheat code. You're gonna land. But I think that one actually took me out of the beat a little bit because it wasn't in the way you used to hearing him in the pocket. You know?
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't mesh for me. It didn't mesh as well as I would have liked. Cause like it's either one or the other. Like the beat is dope by itself, but the flow is dope by itself. But together they weren't.
Yeah, I was almost trying to find my way through the instrumental or the acapella to get to the instrumental. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was digging that beat though, as it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see here. This is Ant Architecture.
Didn't he play already?
This is the one you reposted and said, but when we say movement, this is what we mean.
I love this one.
Ant's phenomenal, man. I really dig Ant.
You can listen to anything he makes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is dope.
It's Elaquent. Now Eloquent's down. It's all
this,
falling off.
this was a long episode. I had to take a bathroom break.
That's what I just got done doing.
We're like, you know what? Everyone take 5. We're all going to take a bathroom break. Everyone watching. Everyone put your phones down. Keep it running. We're all going to go take a piss. Hold hands. Single file. Good shit, Ant. Appreciate that. I like the mellowness of it. And what the hell instrument is that in there, too, that everybody's using that's like that? Is it just synth? That meh? You know, that it's almost like a horn, but they've like synthesized it like 70s style. But a lot of people latched onto it and added some, echo to it. And shit.
Yeah.
Oh, Tigre used it as well, I think, right? Or am I wrong?
What's that?
Tigre used it as well, or am I wrong?
I believe so. Yeah, I think he used it in his.
And I think he did it the best.
Yeah, he had a good execution of that for sure. Good stuff, man. Let's keep it running.
Goddamn.
Was not expecting that one.
Yeah, nah.
That shit was dope. That wins the week right there. That shit.
Got 2 in 1 here.
Hey, this dude is really like. 'Cause last week, that shit was bananas. Last week, this shit definitely wins the week.
Yeah, that one's top 5 for me.
And bro's flexing like, nah, you're not just gonna get this one beat. I got another one for that ass. You know, I respect that. I respect that. That shows ill. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, good shit, Reminiscing. Appreciate you. Optimus Prime.
Optimus.
Yeah, this one's
Okay.
Wow.
This one's
Okay.
What does he work on?
I think he uses Serato.
Oh, man.
That's my number 1 right there.
Yeah, that did it. These last 2 beats in general, that's my 1 and 2. That shit was reminiscent.
That shit, it reminds me a lot of like the July Heat era Flying Lotus shit.
Philo,
Like,
yeah.
like
Yes,
that's what that reminded me of. That shit not always comes through. That guy like never disappoints.
The first half of that beat was incredible.
Yeah.
And and I can tell he was getting busy on his keyboards and shit. Probably the most dare I say, musical.
Yeah.
I guess out of them all, especially given that sample and just how just off the wall, batshit crazy it is. Yeah, I mean that one's definitely top 3 for me.
I like how he waited a few bars before he brought that bass in too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Noctimus is consistent as hell, man. He's been doing this with us
Yeah,
since
that's
the very beginning. What is that?
Very beginning, man. That dude is very consistent. Very consistent.
One of my favorites, man. Really cool cat too. Super nice guy. Phenomenal music. Let's keep it running.
Damn. Ash came in and set a stamp. Holy shit. He's becoming a beat hawk. Indeed. Shout outs to Astra Beats, man. That shit was fucking phenomenal.
Man, every time I see someone use one of those and I don't see anything plugged into the back of them, I'm like, they're being a phony. They're lying about playing it.
Batteries.
But yeah, nah, that dude, I don't know, man. That shit was super strong. Like,
as you say, cheat code too, because he put us in it, so it makes me.
Yeah. Cheat code shit.
Right. Man. Well, I'm not in it, so I'm not impressed.
Right. There he goes. He's starting to grill.
No, but that shit was butter though. I mean, it's so hard to to sort of rank or order so many of these beats, and you kind of hear them and then on to the next. But yeah, I mean that one and shit. There's like 4 or 5 other beats I could say it for, but yeah, I mean that was definitely one of my favorite ones.
Absolutely, yeah. Ashram Beats is phenomenal, man. We're happy to have him. He's only been submitting, I think, this season. He hopped in a few sessions back, maybe 2 or 3 back, and he's just been consistent ever since. So, fucking phenomenal. Just like I said in that sample, fucking phenomenal. Here goes Kinko. Kinko's fucking... He's good, man. That dude just gets the fundamentals right there. He's got it down pat. Fucking phenomenal, man. We're down to our last beat. Last beat of the evening. This was a long one, man. It almost went 3.5... We were 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, dude. It went by pretty quick, though. Just real quick, too, like, we never tell people, like, when, like, ahead of time, hey, so-and-so's coming on before we drop the sample, too. So, like, that way it's not like, okay, let me really, you just never know who's going to be on the show at any given moment until, but the sample's out, you start making your beats, you never know who's going to hop on. So you always got to kind of like come with your A game and shit like that. And these cats really showed out, not even knowing that you were going to be on until afterwards. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool, man. But yeah, thank you for joining us, man. Like, before we play this last beat too, you have your most recent record that you have out now. Can you talk to us about your most recent album?
Yeah, most recent one. I did a project last year called Long Drives to Nowhere, which I did on HerbNet. So yeah, for all of y'all on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal, I think we still got some of the vinyl left. So just run up the Bandcamp. And yeah, that one was a pretty personal one, as far as making sort of pandemic era music and kind of just being stuck in one place. And I think everyone went through some type of depression through the process. I don't really like to create from that sort of space, but I did from that one. So if nothing else, that's one record that just on a personal level means a lot to me. But I mean, whether you fuck with it or not, anyone who wants to give it a listen, that's all love. It's all appreciated.
Yeah. And you did a bit of a documentary around that record as well?
No, not at all. We do, so for the rollout of a couple of records, me and the homie, Abra, we came up with this idea of, hey, we should, for the rollout, we should do some fake movie trailers and shit like that. I mean, the first time I did it was on my last Mellow record, and we did mock movie posters and a mock trailer and so forth, and I had people DMing me "Yo, congratulations! I had no idea that you went to film school or you did yada yada yada."
Yeah.
Because on one of the posters we had a fake Toronto International Film Festival sticker on it, and no, we absolutely did not make a film, but I had people think that we did. So you
got me on this last one. I was looking for I'm like, where the hell is this documentary at?
Let's see one of these days, I might fuck around and actually do one, and no one's gonna believe me. This is just some corny album rollout shit. No one's gonna watch it. So maybe I'm doing myself a future disservice, but I thought the idea was hella funny.
Yeah, it's cool. I dig it. Well, this last cat, we're down to the final beat. This is an interesting character because he only shows up here and there throughout these 3 seasons so far. And he's never shown his face. No one knows who he is exactly. And his whole... we did this kind of end of the season. The first year we did this, we did it every week. One a week for every week. It was a massive undertaking. And he was in pretty damn consistently throughout the whole thing. And when we did this wrap-up video where everyone submitted a video to say thanks or what the session meant to him, he even came in super... He changed his voice and he was wearing a mask of the whole nine. But he's insanely good. He goes by Who Is This? And no one knows who the fuck he is. So, and he's also joined the beat battle. So he'll be in the battle this coming March 19th as well. So here's Who Is This?
Unbearably hot, uncomfortably bumpy, and unbelievably spectacular.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be on live for the beat battle.
I don't know how he's gonna do it.
No, I was just thinking it's gonna be like that old Adult Swim show, Delocated, where he's just he's got the fucking mask on and he's got the voice changer installed in his throat. That way, when he talks at all times, he's just the whole shit is just masked. But
I'm still not convinced that that's not slop, man. That's gotta be slop.
Slop Funk does.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? We'll never know. We were like, what if it's Q-Tip?
that would be like crazy.
Bro, it's Mad Lib.
I would. Yeah, that's my shit.
Yeah. We'll never know. And I even we had to chat back and forth to like do some things, and I was like, you know what you should do is at the very end of whatever season it was at the time, might have been the first or second, obviously. And I was like, at the end, you should reveal who you are. And he goes, nah, man, can't do that. Just like sticks to his guns. He's our unofficial villain, our unofficial super villain.
Hey, but honestly, man, it's like you got to kind of respect the commitment, you know? Like, like Doom got that idea with the mask, and right up until his passing, R.I.P. Yeah, I mean, he stayed committed to the bit.
Yeah,
sending Doom posters to do his concerts and shit.
Shows,
Personally, I hated that shit at the time.
Yeah, the Doom poster thing.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought look, I get that it's like a bit or whatever, but it's like, I mean, you are still kind of fucking over your fans.
Yeah, he would do that.
That he got away with it.
He would do that, and he would show up like 2 hours, 3 hours late for a show.
Yeah, it was like a combination of shit. That's why, like, when some people are like, but it's part of the character, I'm like, nah, It was a combination of shit that was happening. People are paying to see you, then they pay. You're not there, and then on top of that, they fucking wait 3 hours to figure out that it's not you. Come on, man.
Dude, that shit is so shitty.
Bro, and I mean, Doom tickets, like at his height, like, I mean, I'm sure it's weren't cheap.
Yeah, that was the other part of it. They were expensive as shit, and then a lot of the venues were doing grimy shit where they weren't giving like rain checks or refunds. So you pay a lot of money
because he still showed up.
Showed up to fucking get the money, but you paid a lot of money to see a dude a few hours late, and it wasn't even him. So it's like it's like a combination.
Yeah, like you're getting a you've been waiting all night. You got a 25-minute set from some guy who just happens to have a mask on, and
a fucking intern at Stone's Throw just randomly like on stage with a mic and shit. Yeah.
See, I think I saw him in the mid-2000s.
Well, no one ever knows, but it's like I think that he, maybe something happened or he had to pull out or whatever, and they got the idea to send someone in. I think he probably did that once or twice, just figuring out whatever. It's just it is what it is, and then surprisingly or maybe even unsurprisingly, like his fans were like defending it and like, You just don't understand Doom.
Yeah,
it's the Doom poster, and I'm like really? So see y'all cool spending your $75? Like
it's like who wants to be a part of that shit? Like when it comes down to like being a fan of somebody, I'm a fan of a person as well as their music that they create. I'm rarely a fan of somebody that I'm not a fan of who they are as a person or some type of part of their personality or whatever. Like. That shit goes hand in hand. And if you're like, you get the opportunity to rap on Mad Lib beats, and then that promotes and pushes you into a place where you can actually sustain that shit and really make a career. Because really, I mean, Doom is a dope producer, and he's dope, with the music he's created. But that Mad Lib cosign, and then and
then Danger Doom after that.
The Danger Doom after that. Those two things really cemented his place in history and made him like that much more of an important part of that scene at that time.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't do your shows no more.
Well, because it wasn't just like he did it once. I mean, at one point it was like over like one summer, like I don't know, 8 years ago. It felt like he pulled that shit like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it was like multiple times.
He did it a lot. He did it a lot.
And it's not like he did it one time in 2009 and maybe one other random time in 24. Like bro did it like an entire summer at one point, and it was on some like, well, if I know that he's coming to Toronto, like what assurances can this promoter, can this venue what promises can they give me that it's going to be actually him? And
Same thing.
And I guess that's the beauty of rapping in a mask, because it's like he always has plausible deniability.
No, that's a good point. But I mean, it was the same shit with somebody like Lauryn Hill, and I mean, obviously she wasn't wearing a mask, but like Lauryn Hill was infamously known for fucking not showing up to shows or showing up hours late, many hours late.
She wasn't as bad. She wasn't as bad as Doom. Like,
nah, man, I might argue that she was worse. I would argue she was worse too. She was worse because it was on a larger scale and more people knew her. And then she wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, didn't she show up to a show like fucking 5 or 6 hours late? And then when she got there and performed, I think she only did a quarter of the set. It was some. It was like
she did that. She did that numerous
times
where she would come in and, like, you know, because also too, you know, the artist forgets that, you know, the stage has a responsibility. Like the stage can't just, you know, give you time just because you arrived late and stuff.
And if I'm not mistaken, didn't she not show up to one of the shows? Like, wasn't that a thing that happened?
A few shows. She was a few shows.
I'm sure there's at least a few she maybe flat out didn't show up to, but like, just. You know, I just find that just really disrespectful to people's time, because I mean, it's like if you're seeing Lauryn Hill, I mean, this isn't someone playing at a 300-person venue. I mean, these are big shows. It's big money,
1,500 people.
And the type of people who go to see her are like, you know, like folks who like grew up in the 90s, and a lot of them have like kids now, and so it's like, yo, I gotta find a babysitter. I gotta drive 3 hours to the show. We gotta book hotels. You know, like there's a lot involved into it. And then
everything you just said, I just watched somebody do that. In addition to doing that, they cut their hair, and they got these specially made Avril Lavigne t-shirts, and it said Avril Lavigne across the front, and it had 311 on the back. And you know, it was such a commitment. You know, and he's here, he's here with us now.
With his chain wallet.
I was like, where is this going?
It's like,
no, but I mean, if you know a person has a reputation like that, do you even, buy a concert ticket to go see that?
Well, it depends.
That's kind of on you, you know?
Well, at a certain point, because it's like, you know, there was a time where, you know, Lauryn Hill showing up 2 or 3 hours late was kind of like, man, like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, this is so unlike her, or this is yada, yada, yada. Now it's a thing where, like, it's a running joke.
Yeah.
And it's like, if she's on the headline of a show coming to your city, and you're still going to pay that $70 ticket and et cetera involved, like, you forfeit the right to be shocked if she shows up 3 hours late, because it's like, it's not one show, it's not 2 shows, it's not 5, it's like, there's probably a solid 40-50 times that it's documented that shit's happened. And it's like, I know people personally who like toured with her, and you know, like, some of the stories you hear are just like
horrible.
Man, I kind of wish I didn't hear that, because now when I listen to her music, like, now it hits a little different.
Yep, I think I know what you're referring to, and I could not agree more. And then especially when those stories started coming out, and then the artists involved with those started speaking more like upfront and frequently about it, and then you started hearing about like a little bit deeper than that, like the songwriting credits. And the people that were performing on the album not being paid, and just like there was so much shit that happened around
the whole
the time.
Robert Glasper.
Yes, thank you. That's a part of it.
Well, the funny thing is, like, because he brought that up, and he spoke about it very openly and honestly, and everybody came for his throat about it, and then, you know, and I remember she shockingly like replied to it, and it was kind of like, well, you know, my energy wasn't aligned, so that's why I was 3 hours late.
My chakras wasn't aligned, and
and it's like, yeah, what you're saying that I did was unprofessional, but honestly, you know, it is what it is, and I need it to. And it's like the shit's not really debunking anything. You're just kind of
adding to it. Yeah, you're contributing to it.
You're kind of acknowledging, like, oh yeah, all of these things did happen, but Lauryn Hill and I can get away with it. And it's like, well,
it's got to come down to like a mental health thing at that point. There's got to be some some shit going on with her at a mental level.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I personally, I feel a little uncomfortable, like diagnosing somebody that I don't know. So only she knows what's really up, and if her paying fans don't have an issue with the lateness or whatever, then more power to them. But it's like if she comes to Toronto, if she comes to Guelph tomorrow, it's like I don't know if I'm comfortable spending my money on it. It's like,
risky.
Motherfucker's got to work in the morning, and I can't have you coming up on stage at 1 a.m.
Right.
Like I'm trying to be home by 1 a.m.
Any of their shows? This cat's never been late. Never been 4 hours late to any of his shows, and I almost missed this beat. I was late to play this beat, but he told me is Robo.
Fucking fantastic. That absolutely another one that's like top 5.
Man, it's a good thing you caught that one. It'd be a damn shame if we didn't get to that one. That was crazy.
Absolutely. What a nice one to end it on, too, man. That shit was the perfect button on this thing. So, what do you think, Elaquent? Your first time on the Beatcast. We loved having you. What do you think of the project? You dig it?
The shit was trash. I mean, I never that. Bro, like I could have been playing Dead Space. I could have been doing it. No, real talk, man. The shit's a lot of fun. It's always dope to just kick it with some like-minded individuals and just hear beats. I mean, everyone kind of just came together for that one purpose. And I'm a beathead at heart, so whenever you guys want to have me back, just hit me up.
Absolutely, man. We'd love
awesome. We appreciate you being on, man. Taking the time.
Yeah, for real. No, thanks for having me. Like I said, I had a great time.
Yeah, me and my new label mate, we'll figure out a time to make to come back on here and shit. But yeah, I'm gonna act like I don't know y'all either. I appreciate you having me. And,
Hey, I'm gonna send y'all the invoice.
Check right away.
Charging for your time. Hell yeah.
Cool. Hey, but it's been dope, man, and it's been dope being able to see you in your journey, and all the things you're contributing to the scene, and and then now to be able to share space with you and talk and just catch that vibe, man. It's been really dope, man. Really appreciate it.
I gotta say, for this, it's so cool just for the opportunity. First of all, being on the Beatcast, it's a big thing for me. And I've been listening, I told the guys I was listening to Stolen Drums, and you, especially, your beats are always on the loop for me. So this is really cool.
I appreciate that. And it's I tell folks all the time, and I don't know how I sort of come across in my dealings online, and I have some blue checks on a few of my socials, so I think sometimes maybe folks think that I'm not accessible or just wouldn't be down to do shit like this, but it's I'm a beathead at the end of the day,
Yeah, I'm so glad you said yes to this. I was just, not sure,
I was tempted to say no just out of spite, but I figured,
But the check cleared.
Fine. The check cleared. The check cleared. No, but it's like, you know, like community is kind of everything, and you know, I'm never like I would never be in a position to do any of the cool things that I do if not for, you know, the like a promoter who wants me to just play at a random gig, or just a forum group or a group chat, or just some shit where it's just like-minded individuals all in the same place. And you know, the shit's niche. You know, it's not mainstream, but the only way that it sort of survives is you know, communities and shit like this. So you know, so y'all definitely gotta give yourselves a round of applause for yourselves. You know, the shit.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, like the shit matters, man. And you know, I remember being the one kid who nobody knew and would sign up for beat battles, and you know, like platforms like this didn't really exist back in like, you know, mid 2000s when I was coming up. So you know, I would have killed for some shit like this back in the day. So you know, I feel a sense of, I don't want to say giving back, because it's like I'm not like on that level or anything, but you know, it's important. Maybe, but
It's completing the circle of like contributing back to something that fed you. So that's dope, man.
Right, I guess, but yeah, I feel like, you know, like these sort of things, you know, I gotta come through. I gotta be a part of it, here and there, if nothing else, just to, you know, just to keep me grounded and kind of just remember what it felt like when I was on the come up, you know, because like, you know, like there wasn't, like it was hard to get feedback from, you know, some of my favorite artists, or just guys that I looked up to. And you know, I think a lot of people sort of kept their jewels and their gems and shit to themselves. And you know, and I never wanted to be that guy. Like DiBiase, which I bring up a lot. Like he's one of my best friends, and like, you know, he was kind of one of those like guys I really respected, who never was on some big time shit for me, and answered questions and listened to the shitty beats that I was sending him. So you know, which I think a lot of that sort of led me to being where I am today. So yeah, it's always important to pay it forward.
Oh yeah, man! You couldn't have said it any better. That's perfect. That's exactly what this whole thing is about. Is exactly that, and that's why I appreciate you so much taking the time to do this with us. So in closing, definitely send your Spotify links if you participated in the Beatcast to our Discord at thebeatcast.com. You can get sample pack 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. at the Beatcast Patreon, patreon.com/thebeatcast. The beat battle is all lined up. It begins on March 19th, I believe, but the dates are all on our Instagram, so you can check that out there.
Ooh, Telly, I like that nigga.
That's going to be a good time.
Yes, sir.
And then we have Critical Listening, where we resume with Sam Drumlow. Shortly, you'll see that coming up. We'll have the stuff putting that out there. Sam's an awesome cat, does like an amazing job helping everyone with their mixes and their mastering. And our tape is available now at thebeatcast.com. There's only 20-something tapes left. I don't exactly know at the moment. I try to keep that updated, so that's going to be gone soon. And so if you can, try to grab those before they are gone. And you know, thank you again one last time to everyone who already is a Patreon. You'll see their names down at the bottom. We try to get those up as many times as we can. We will add you to that list as well. You get all kinds of cool shit there. Like you just instantly get sample packs instead of buying them one at a time. You sign up and you just get all the past ones plus everyone that's coming after that. And we have 3 more lined up coming up, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. And at certain tiers, they just send you merch. So you're just going to get Beatcast merch like regularly if you stay subscribed. And you can also sponsor us. I get hit up quite a bit about, hey, can I sponsor you guys? And it's like, yeah, just go to our Patreon to the producer level, and you can sponsor us right through there, and we'll get your ad read in here. And I think that's all. With that, catch you guys on the next one. Let's let it run until 2 more seconds, and we're going to have the record. There we go. 4 hours.
There we
just
go.
hit the record. Wow. That's a 4-hour podcast. We got a record. Oh, yeah, dude. We did it. And it was so
We
easy.
was doing that.
Yeah, we used to do those back.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live. For a second, what were you gonna say? I'll save it for after. I don't want to get canceled. All right, y'all. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.
All right, peace.
It's not silly. It's wonderful. It's something that you can do for yourself. This is what you want to do for yourself. You can get out there, get on your own, take your own money that you earn each and every day, and go out and get healthy while you're doing it.